3,
Present.
Zone 4,
Here.
and the mayor is here. Ceremonial matters, we're going to have a legislative prayer. I have a pastor that's going to be here, but he couldn't make it, so you're going to do that for me. So if you all bow your heads, those that will stand. Let us look to the Lord. Lord, we come together as a city and as a commission to do the work that you have presented before us, Lord. We thank you for the things that have allowed us to survive this storm, Lord. And we know that the storms of life will always be upon us, Lord, but you will always be over us and protecting us. We thank you for the ones that have come out and to show their support to this commission and to bring whatever issues they have to this table. We ask that we be able to deal with it in decent and order. These things we're going to ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are there any deletions or additions, modifications to the agenda? Hearing none.
No, Mayor, we do.
Okay.
Under 9, public hearings, event request application for Ivy Hawn cross-country event has been withdrawn. That's item A. Item C, second reading of ordinance 202302, text amendment, has been delayed until November 14, 2024, per the request of the applicant.
What number was that, sir?
C, under public hearings, second reading ordinance 2023-02 text amendment. That will come back 11/14/24. Under presentations to the commission, the FROC update will be in November. Representative has COVID, so can't make the meeting tonight. And the two more changes in reference to the current agenda. Under 11, quasi-judicial. D, the COA for 375 South Volusia, modification to single-family residence. There had been a dispute between the applicant and the board, and the applicant has agreed to follow with the board's recommendation, so that's been resolved and be removed from the commission's agenda tonight. We will be adding, Mayor, I brought coffee, unfortunately, I guess in the rush, in a Zoom call we had with the state at 5 o'clock, we left the copies for the commission. It's a resolution 2412. Joey's going to pick it up for us. We'll need to add that. The purpose of the resolution is the governor has put out a 90-day mandate that every city and county will be cleaned up. Transfer stations will be open 24/7. And right now they're mandating that the cities and counties operate 24/7 on the cleanup. But if you have 100,000 square yards or less, I'm going to rely on Alan's expertise, and I'm just going to go using on Ian. We were around 10 to 11,000 square yards. This resolution, if passed and sent over to the county tomorrow, gets us out of the 24/7 because it's designed more for the bigger communities and getting that out. So we would still need to meet a 90-day deadline. We just wouldn't have to have contractors working 24/7 in the city of Lake Ellen.
Where will we be adding that?
We can add it underneath. We can put that under city administrator, and we can add it under that report.
Letter G?
Yeah.
And that was 2024?
2024-12.
Thank you.
And then as we get into that, and we do there, I can do some updates in reference to the meetings we've been having with the county involving the whole process in terms of there. So that's your changes to the agenda right now. And the other change, Mayor, and this was something that we talked about, we wanted to try the process of moving the public forum up early in the meeting, so people didn't have to sit through all of the city business if they had an item that they wanted to address. So we're going to try this meeting with public comment being in front, and then commission comments will be at the end meeting.
Public forums mean these are yellow cards if you want to speak on something. We're having the public forum first. Normally we have it at the end, so if you want to speak on something, get a yellow card. And
the yellow card is for non-agenda items, and the blue card is for agenda items. So if you have an item that is not on the agenda, then fill out a card and be ready to speak in the next, that will be the next thing that we go to. If you're here to speak about an item on the agenda, you will fill out a blue card, and then the mayor will call your name when that item comes up for public discussion.
Thank you. Anyone else? There's no one else. Okay. The yellow cards have been placed here, and they've been numbered. So I'm call them in order. Let me just read something else for those that are not familiar. Persons desire to address the commission must fill out and provide the mayor a yellow request form located at the door. After being recognized by the mayor, persons are asked to come forward, speak from the podium, state their name and address, and direct all remarks to the commission as a body, not to individual members of the commission, staff, or audience. Citizen comments during the public comment and each section of the agenda where public comment is allowed, we're asked to limit the discussion to 3 minutes. There's a large group here, and they ask to have a named spokesperson. The period of time for comments is not, this period of time is for comments, and not for questions and directions to the commission or staff for immediate answers. Questions directed to the city commission will be referred to staff and should be answered by staff within a reasonable period of time following the date of this meeting. Order and decorum will persevere at all meetings. Personal, impertinent, and slanderous remarks are not permitted. Thank you for your participation. So, okay. Rob? Okay. So we're going to start. Before we start, I just want to say that we have come through what is amounted to be the most horrendous storm that the city has ever had. Every person that I spoke to that's been living in the city all of their lives has said that they've never seen what we've experienced. It's gotten so passe now that you have a 100-year storm every year, sometimes twice a year. So what they've termed this particular storm, as now they've gone the numbers up. Now this has become a 1,000-year storm. So everything that we're experiencing here today, or we've experienced over this week, given the fact that not only have we had a single storm that was as big a water deluge as it was, but it came on the heels of a second storm that actually mostly wind and didn't get rain. But we had to prepare for it in advance, and then after the hurricane damage, what generally takes place is recovery, rescue, and recovery. Rescue, no one had to be rescued, but now we're in the recovery phase. And everything we do here is going to help bring us to that place. Thank you. So, Fiona Ash, first one. Do we have our timer?
Yes.
Okay.
Start that.
Thank you. Would you state your name?
Fiona Ash, 840 Pioneer Lake Elm, Florida, 32744. I know that all of us have experienced flooding issues, and it's a trying time right now. My heart goes out to everybody for everything we're going through. The seat is kind of out of step for what our meeting is for tonight, but I wanted to ask, many residents have asked me to come forward to you guys to see if we can have a future community yard sale before the next one next November. So I've had a lot of people message me and they wanted to pick somewhere around the beginning of December. So they've asked if for the city residents, December 6th through 8th, if you guys would think about waiving the permitting fees.
Yes.
We know you have in the past. Unfortunately, October 10th through 12th was kind of a no-go because of all the damage we all had. With that, that's pretty much it.
Thank you very much. Karen? Here she goes, there she is. Oh.
Karen Variance, 949 Blackjack Ridge Trail. Mine's quite simple. On 11/11 is Veterans Day, falls on a Monday. City Hall is closed. So we would have to pay someone overtime, holiday time to come in to help us set up for a presentation we usually have. I've spoken to Roger. We could do it at the American Legion. We can have it sponsored by the city, but hosted through the American Legion. My question is, could we donate some money to them, preferably between $100 and $200, to buy hamburgers, hot dogs, because it is happening at lunchtime, because 11 o'clock is also the time. And that is my only question. The reason I'm asking tonight is because the next meeting is after 11/11. So, we can do it either way. Roger could go out and buy everything and turn in every receipt. Or we could just donate $200 and let them buy what they need. That's up to the commission.
Thank you.
Mayor, I'll donate $100.
Thank you very much.
That would bring it to $100.
Anything more? $100? $100 going once?
Yeah, I'll take the other 100.
Another 100? Okay. We'll take
Thank
another
you.
100.
Thank you.
Okay, Kurt Stiven?
First, second, they come for microphone on.
Oh, yes, thank you.
Now it is, yes. I just want to begin by thanking all the volunteers that were out there after the storm, cleaning up the roads. I honestly believe that's what got our power on as quickly as we did, to be honest with you, at Office Environment. And they said, if the road's clear, you're coming in. So if you're in here, thank you very much for those that volunteered to get the roads cleared for us. I also want to thank the commission and the city administrator for everything they've done up to this point in making sure that we're okay, making sure that the street cleanups are going on pace. And Heather, it was great to see you out in the community, talk, touch a base with everybody. I have two issues, hoping I can get them all in 3 minutes. First one is the flooding. We got to do something with High Street. Good friends that are abandoned. You're a really good friend of mine, Terry, Mark. The rescue agency for pets. The rescue pets right now for capacity. They can't even get to their house. So my first ask is that when that water recedes, hopefully within a short period of time, I don't see it happen. Last time it took almost a year. That's the first issue we work on. Those are people's homes. So that's my first ask. My second ask might step on some toes, but if I do, it's not the first time. It won't be the last one. So we had a citywide yard sale. And I understand that it went on, which I have no problem with whatsoever. But my ask is this, since the city waived the permit fees, I think there has to be a clause within that if we're under a state of emergency or national disaster, that the city has the right to revoke any permit, not just that, any yard sale, anything else that's going on that can cause damage or harm to an individual coming into our city. So I think that's something that the city should look into. I don't know if Scott can inform me whether or not that's something that the city can do, but I honestly feel that that's something that needs to be done going forward with permits issued, because it's not a city-run event, so the city can't say, no, you can't have it, but the city can say, we pour our permits, so you can't do it. So that's my second ask. With that, I'm done.
Thank you. Kim O'Neill?
Hello, Kim O'Neill, 544 Jennings. Talking to you about flooding. I'm suffering right now. I lost everything. I now live on an island. I have no running water that I can use because my septic tank is full because the water in my yard is sewage. I have to ship and bucket, pardon my expression, because I do not have plumbing that I can use. I shower in a garden hose outside my house because I cannot shower in my house because I cannot let any more water go into my septic tank because my yard is full. Multiple times I've come to the city and asked for help because the road pours all of its water into my yard. You can see how the street curves directly to my yard. I'm devastated for a number of reasons. Not only am I living on an island, I'm not in a floodplain, but I've gotten flooded twice now. This is the worst. My back porch flooded up to the back of my door. My shed flooded that has all of my son's belongings out where his father's and people's lost. My garage flooded. I've been in the process of redoing my floors in my house, and all of my furnishings are in 2 containers in my front yard. I've lost everything. I have a mat to sleep on in my house, and I've requested multiple times to have the city come out, dig a trench in front of my yard, put gravel in it, come in and change just a section of the road so it's level, so the water's equally distributed. I'm not saying come in and do major stuff. I sent my son over to talk to Rick Mullins to get a pump my yard out, help me out here. I work 7 days a week, twice on the weekends. I'm a single parent. I'm doing this all on my own. I don't have financial help. I work all the time because I have to survive. The day my house flooded, the first thing I did when I had to wade out in my yard was pick up my floods and I started helping neighbors. Because that's who I am. I believe in helping everybody. But when nobody's there to help you, you lose hope in the city. I talked to the mayor, this mayor, and 2 other mayors about this situation. It's time for something to be done, not only for me, but other people. I'll survive no matter what, but it's not right. It's not right to have to go through this. There's somebody mentioning that a tree fell on their shed, and that seems to be more important than losing everything that you've worked for. That's not right. It's not right at all. And I know other people have been affected by this flooding. It is devastating for everybody, but it's time the city works on storm management. And there's areas that need it more than others. Everybody's important here, it doesn't matter who it is. And just because I'm a single parent, a single woman doesn't mean that I'm not worthy of having help from the city. And that's what it feels like. So I hope you consider trying to do something to help alleviate my issue so that I can maybe get back on my feet. You know, things are things. I'm not worried about the stuff, but I deserve the right to live in a home where I can flush the toilet and not crap in the bucket or have to shower outside in cold water. Most people don't know that when you have water in your yard, you can't flush. You can't shower. You can't do those things that normal people can do. And I really think that's pretty bad that I have to be here to talk to you about that when I've requested help multiple times and just been sent to one person or another. So I thank you for your time. Please consider helping some listeners.
What was your street again?
Jennings,
Jennings,
544 Jennings.
the one with sandbags all the way around it. I tried to do everything I could to get in order because of past situations. And the mayor came out and put a couple bags out, helped us that day, and said he'd come back. I hadn't seen him come back.
I was back after the flood.
So I just asked for some help. And I had lots of solutions, lots of ideas, and they're not more costly. It just takes time and a little bit of help. So
I just want to put out that she didn't put out sandbags. She went to Home Depot and bought bags of dirt. Because at the time when the flood was coming, she said she had to work that day.
I work every day, excuse me.
Well, she had to work the day that week. Instead of going to get sandbags, she went out and expended money to buy how many?
Over 350 bags.
350 bags of dirt. And placed them all around the house. And if you look at the house now, the bags are under the water. And when she...
My air conditioning's under the water. And that was on a 5-6 inch platform.
On the high side
That
of
would-
the road.
On the high section of the road.
This is probably the most extreme. I've been all around the city. I haven't seen anybody in a situation as extreme as this. And what makes it even harder, she said she spoke to 2 previous mayors. It's the first time we ever spoke. I'd never heard about this before. But as a city, I think just by sitting here, there's enough energy and compassion to help this lady, besides the city. I wish there were more that we could do. And I'm just going to leave it at that, but we will not leave it, guys, I promise.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
A new station alert has arrived.
Harold Webb.
Harold Webb, 520 Kings Road, Hotel. I'm not here to talk about the problems I may have in my house with flooding. We do have them, but we can live with them. I'm here to see what we can get done for the people who are suffering. Everyone here is concerned about the drainage issues throughout our town. It's causing friction between neighbors and neighborhoods. This is just not right. The lack of proper action in the past has led to what we're living with today. And it's going to be here for a long time. It's not going to be fixed in a short period of time. And it's going to cost us dearly. But I do have an idea I'm going to throw out. It's just an example of how we can start. Let's take High Street, for instance. Those people are hurting just as well as other people. I'm not leaving out any group. Beg, borrow, or steal. You find some large water pumps. Contractors, Corps of Engineers, set them up, take the conveyance equipment that comes with it, funnel that water out to the east drainage ditch of I-4. Use that same funneling system and run it south towards the Canandaigua overpass. There's a huge water retention area down here. Yeah, it's got water in it now. But that's designed to be a dry retention, which means the water will go away rather quickly. You can take every neighborhood in this town and suck it down there through a pumping system. You just got to do it. I think it was after Hurricane Ian, but I'm not sure. We all saw those same type of systems being run on the west side of I-4 for months. So let's not take an attitude that, oh, we can't do that, because it can be done. It takes coordination with FDOT. It may even ask for permits, not DOT, but somebody. But under the circumstances, I believe you can ask for an exception to permit. Permits take time you don't have. So, and I'll just say something about a guy that I used to work for, as well as a lot of other guys I work with. He was a graduate of West Point. He was also a retired Army general. But he came to us to run our outfit. One night we before, let me back up, we always had monthly progress meetings. Every project on the books was reviewed, to see where are you, what are you doing, how come it's not working, what do we need to do? He slipped into the conference room the night before the meeting. Painted on the wall in big, black, bold letters. We can't do that, is unacceptable. Followed up by, get it done. And that's what I'm saying to you folks. You've got to get it done. You don't have time to sit around. I'm not saying you're sitting around, but you know some of the obstacles that are in your way that you can take care of before you acquire something to get these areas pumped out. You can deal with people on High Street. You can give them back their homes. If you get in there with a system and pump, you can have it back in their place probably in less than 2 weeks. There may be other alternatives to use an I-4. That's up to you guys to find. Thank you.
Thank you. Connie? Karen? Did we? Oh, is that Connie?
Probably.
Yeah, small hair, right?
Connor Tiger, 544 Jennings Avenue. I'm just going to take a slight continuance on what my mother had said. It wasn't just that we had spoken to members of the city. We had spoken to the city engineer, 2 of them. They both said, oh, I'm sorry, this is not on us. Please see the county/St. Johns River. I reached out to the county of St. Johns River. They said, I'm sorry, St. Johns River specifically said, I'm sorry, you're not one of our problems. We appreciate that you have an issue, but you're not one of our issues. I said, okay. I reached out to the county. Same thing, just who's got less interest. County says, I'm sorry, you're not one of our issues. You might be a state thing. Go ahead and reach out. I got off and called someone from the state. The state said, I don't know why you're talking to me, but I appreciate that you've gone through the trouble of going through the change. Let me double check everything on my end. They checked everything on their end. Yeah, this is not technically a you problem. This is not a county problem. This is not a St. Johns River problem. This is not us as a state problem. This is a city of Lake Helen problem. So after that, I come back to the city of Lake Helen. Speak to another engineer. Still didn't have anything happen with that. I have had engineers come out from city, from county. I think St. Johns River, the guy shows up in his truck, stops his truck. He doesn't even get out of his truck at this point. He just stops his truck, rolls the window down, and leans out and goes, you know what, I'm not going to bother changing my tools off this. I can tell you right now, your appraisal is pretty close to what I'd say. You receive all the water from this road. And he didn't mean all the water. I think the marks he said was basically like the next cross street and our next cross street. It is the entire shot of the road in every yard. As my mother had said, I lost my father a year ago. Some of the things I inherited from him that are probably gone to come. And now I'm making a deal. Included books.
Say something, just the experience that the family's gone through. I worked for FEMA for 2 years through 2 floods, 2010 in Faith. I saw things there that I'd never experienced before. The impact on people's lives. I saw devastation and damage. Water is the most forgiving thing. It comes and it goes. When it goes, you don't even know if it's ever there. the mood of this meeting, I hope it sits in that we are all our neighbor's keepers. If there's anything that we can do, just besides making ourselves comfortable, we really need to become very close to the community. You want to finish? Okay, please.
Two sort of final points on that. Returning to the Megascope floor, at least try and get back towards some semblance of our life. I got a quote earlier today. It wasn't an official one, but it was back in the matchbook, and I've learned to trust when the tradesman gives me a back in the matchbook. That's pretty close. To have a professional plumber crew come out to do our yard with the amount of water we have, we're looking at almost a $5,000 expense. Even if I was to burn every I received from my father, as far as everything, I would run out of cash before we could get our property recovered. And this is not how I want to go right now. I understand that there are folks in the similar situations. I understand that this whole thing, but some of the responses I've received, some of the things I've seen happen, does not help. At least does not feel as though it helps when I receive them. I know my mother had mentioned a few, but there's several options. She was being light on the options. I probably got more options to repair this than even professional engineers have at some point. I have researched this issue and tried to do it. If the city is serious about combating this, love me out. That is all.
Thank you, Connor. Eric Jensen?
Eric Jensen, 370 North High Street. I come to ask, what can the city do to help us with the drainage? Going off what Mr. Webb had said, getting pumps. I can offer an 8-inch pump today to help with this. One of the options we could do, pump from the storm drain that's in front of my house, pump it to the quarter of Euclid and Cloud to those drains, which goes to Lake Cloud. Pump from Lake Cloud to Lake Pearl down to Brevet. That's a natural corridor which goes underneath Brevet out to Deep Creek. It's a natural waterway. It's what it's always done in the past. Like I said, it's going to take 3 pumps and about 4,000 foot of hose. I can help out with at least 1 pump, possibly 2. I just need help from the city to get this done. There's multiple homes, including mine, with water in it. My wife, my son, and I can't even live in our house. Luckily, we're blessed enough to have friends and family to let us live with them. We're bouncing between 3 homes right now. Dogs are all split up, animals are all split up. We need help. It's not a vegetation problem, this is a drainage issue into a private pond that cannot handle the water. It's a private pond with no positive outflow that the city is draining into. The drain is in my front yard. I've got 6 inches of water in my front yard right now. 6 foot in the backyard. I've got no help. We need your help. Help us, and we will help you. We want to work as a partnership. We're not here to crack or clash and everything else. Let's be a team. Let's get this done. Tell me what we can do, and we will help everybody possible. The owner of my company has offered up another pump. So if we need 2 pumps, I can get them for you. That will save a bunch of money for the city. It's being donated. 4,000 foot of hose, that's expensive, that's tough to get. That's what we need more. We've got better resolutions. Maybe somebody call the landowner at the John Street pond. Call them. We've looked at that pond, it can take a bunch of water right now. It's one simple phone call. Can we use your pond for discharge? It's 2,000 foot away from my drain. That's the cheapest and easiest thing to do. It's just a phone call. Worst they can say is no. They say no, we can do the daisy pump. 3 pumps running at one time, get it to a bath, let it go to deep creek. I've talked to people out there. The water's already receded from Lake Pearl down that road. It's already gone. It took 2 years for my yard to dry out from Ian. 2 years. 2 months ago, the water finally got out of my yard. Paid property taxes for something I can't even use. We need your help. Thank you.
Question. Where did you say that, where were you going to pump it to?
So you can go from High Street, 370 North High Street is where the storm drain is.
To Storm Drain?
Yes, sir. Go down to the corner of Cloud and Euclid, there's 3 drains right there. They flow into Lake Cloud. You can pump from Lake Cloud, I believe it's Mr. Webb's house, you go right beside it on the hoses, into Lake Pearl. You're going to pump that Lake Pearl, straight down to 2,300 feet to Cravat. Goes into the ditches that are already there. Goes underneath the road, right down the deep creek.
Do you have your phone number?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Douglas Allen?
Douglas Allen, 177 Variance. My question is, police shooting range was close to dropping the road. I was curious why.
Would you repeat that? I'm sorry.
The police shooting range, that park, whatever that is, for 15 years that's been open for debris disposal. It's not open this storm.
I know we use it when we have the neighborhood pickup, because we put the dumpsters there.
Yeah, but after Matthew, I mean, it was up to the sky now. And then after Irma, same thing. And this was a lot.
We have to get FEMA certified before we can do any of that.
I think they're making everything go to the transfer station, too. They're not.
Well, everything's going to the transfer station right now.
Well, that's right.
We haven't got FEMA
That's
certified for that
Said
site
you
again.
get it there, but I was just curious.
That's the
Because I
red
had to pay
tape.
to dump it off over there. I've always just dumped it over here. So that's the federal government paying for that?
I mean, like I said, they're telling everybody it has to go to transfer station.
But it was always-
They told me that you cannot transfer it from one location to another. Drop it off, it has to be the transfer
Yeah, I
station.
believe we burned it.
And that's a whole other.
Yeah, we're going to explore those options. The governor has just given us a mandate, and I think what they call those are unfunded mandates. You got to do this, the money doesn't come with it, so we have to work our way through this. But that came from the governor. So we're not saying that we can't do it, but we just got to figure out how.
There's that big backhoe or whatever, the city owns that, right?
I'm not sure.
When it comes with the FEMA requirements and everything, we're still battling over the past years that we've used that site for dumping with FEMA to get reimbursed. That still comes out of our funds until they reimburse us. So all them times we've done in the past, we're still fighting for the money to get reimbursed. So it's an expensive
I'm
process.
just a simple guy, so piece of grass we throw woods on and we light it on fire, it's not really a big expense.
I think that what this meeting will lead to is a workshop where we can sit and dialogue. This is a formal meeting, so there's a way that we have to conduct a meeting. But in a workshop, all the ideas can come together, and we can kind of discuss it back and forth. This wasn't anticipated, but now it's here, so now we got to figure out. And I would suggest that at some point that we do have a workshop pretty soon and bring those things to the
So
table.
part 2 of the question.
Go right ahead.
Do we have anyone coming? Because I cleaned up the whole half of my street. But then if somebody chopped up some monster tree, like with 2-ton logs, then on the other end, is someone gonna pick them up or should I?
Everything that's on the road will be picked up.
No guarantee when.
No guarantee.
So in other words, I should just pick them up and dump them myself.
Mayor of the Commission.
Yeah, please.
When we get to my comments, I can give an update.
Okay, we're getting to
Phone
that.
calls and things that we've done with the county, and it will address
Right.
some of these issues.
Yeah, our city administrator has been in contact in Zoom meetings with the whole emergency apparatus, so he'll have more to bring to this table before this meeting is over.
Yeah, just the same thing. Herman and Matthew, like, the storm wasn't even gone, there was already trucks coming through the street, you know.
That's,
And then I just took care of my yard myself, more or less. But then this year, I figured I'd just do the streets a little much. You know, I'm just surprised to find a weed bump, you know.
we'll take care of that.
All right,
Take
appreciate
it
it.
under consideration. Thank you. Belinda Delano? Delano?
Delano.
Sorry, thank you.
If you could give me a minute real quick. I'm sitting here listening to everybody's problems and issues and their losses and stuff like that. Volusia County kind of dictates us what we can do a lot of times. And when it comes to disaster relief, they have all the purse strings on recovery and stuff. Even though it's not going to help with the loss of personal items, to get funds to help recuperate or to survive through any conditions you have, if you go to the Volusia County's Emergency Management website and download their recovery form and fill it out, it's the starting process to get some help financially on getting through this. Thank you.
Linda Delano DeCreta, 390 North High Street. So I'm sorry for everyone's water situation, but I would like to come, and there's new members on this board that were not here when we came before. Some are still here. So this problem could have been prevented some time ago. When I moved here in 2019, there was no water. That's not a lake. It is now, but it wasn't. So the property next to us, I don't even know who owns that, but somebody from up north, but that was dry land. And we came here and brought to everyone's attention that the new homes being built, and I know people are going to say that's not what caused it, but it is. The more homes got built, the more water ended up in our property. Right next to Eric, our house sets up a little higher, but it's coming up underneath ours. And I know that everyone is hurting, but this is ours. We're having to deal with this. Now, you could get tankers to pump the water out, take it someplace else, you'd be fine too. But as my husband had said, a president comes into a company, just like you came in as mayor, and you take on everything of this town. You take it on, and it doesn't matter if you don't know about it, or you didn't hear about it, or you're not involved in it. It still belongs to you. And we're not here to argue, we're not here to fuss and fight, because I love it here in this town. But when the town's leaders do not take charge and help what needs to be helped, then that's a problem. This community comes together in so many ways, it's unbelievable. But our leaders, in my opinion, don't show that they're a part of this town. And I work just like she does, like everybody does. I work in Orlando. I'm not home until sometimes 7 o'clock. I made it home just in time to get here. We just need your help to do something. Eric had a great idea, but we had that great idea almost 2 years ago, and nobody wanted to do anything about it. We got promised, and over again, we're gonna fix it, we're gonna take care of it, we're gonna make this happen. Nothing. So I'm really hoping that this time, this group and this town really makes things happen and get fixed. The drainage is the problem, whether you want to admit it or not, and it was admitted, if I remember correctly, that they messed up. So stop building so many homes, and I don't begrudge people any new homes. I don't, because I want to be in a nice place and live in a nice town. But when you don't do it right the first time, it's going to cause these problems. We never had that problem before. And so I'm just coming to you. Help all of us, not just one group, not just everything, but rent some tankers. Get the water pumped out. Get it gone. It'll be quicker. But we just really need your help. appreciate everyone coming today and speaking. Thank you.
Thank you. Ron Perrin? You're on.
Ron Perrin, 451 West. I had a brief talk to the mayor on Saturday, talking about the debris that's all over the town. He said we're just going to get picked up and clean up our town, use our money. We got money in the office for that. But I disagree with him. I said last time we didn't get reimbursed. We did things wrong. I think we have time to get things right. We paid a lady $5,000 to make sure we do it right. She's not here tonight to help us or guide us. But we need to do it right. We can use our money, but we need to get reimbursed. That's going to happen again. If you take it now, don't get reimbursed, we're not going to have any. You just can't keep on raising our taxes to refill your coffers. So do it right. And then there's a lot of board members that were here, and we did stormwater assessments, where we're going to do repairs. We haven't done it. What we are doing, though, is changing out working water meters and changing out the whole town with water meters. You should have changed out the broken water meters and used that other, what did we borrow, $4 million? I'm sure that $4 million could have bought us some pumps, help those people out. We're not doing our job. And, it's either do the job or bow out. All right, thanks.
Thank you, Ron. Caleb Troy?
Troy, 664 McKinney. I know non-agenda items are not obligated to respond, but I want to know, when will people have answers? Is there a time frame? What's the plan? I hear a workshop. I'm a little concerned about what the timing of that might take. I don't think it's up to neighbors to carry the burden of storm drains and properly working roads that have low spots, improper or missing drainage. I know we have a sidewalk fund. Can we move those funds over to help the road on Jennings, to use some of that for pumping? I mean, how can we get creative here? We as citizens have come up here and given you so many ideas. I think we have a right to hear kind of when that's going to be addressed. My home may not have flooded this time, but it's only a matter of time until it's any one of us who haven't flooded yet. Many properties who don't usually take floods have taken on so much water. I think this is an impervious surface and a land development issue as well. We need to revise our land development code to leave more room for water to drain through the soil and green spaces and not rely on just retention ponds. We need to tighten the reins on planned developments and how much volume they are allowed to turn into impervious surface. Let's learn from the past. What will this mean for future developments, and what is your plan? If you cannot answer it now at the public comment section, when will you be able to discuss and give us responses?
All right, any more yellow cards that anyone that has not spoken that would care to speak? Not, that will...
I just have one thing to just bring up.
Yes, sir?
I know a lot of people are talking about using like pearl and stuff, but y'all need to check into that because it was in this meeting that Michael Afey came in years ago and made the comment that nobody owned that lake. He went to the county and everybody else, and he was the owner of that lake at that point, of that pond. That pond is also private, including with the John Street pond that's private. So there is effects that do happen. I think also it needs to go back to, Ricky was here in 04 when we did the pumping, and we ended up flooding out Betty O'Loughlin's house, the house behind her. So there's repercussions where you put the water. So it has to be very carefully looked at before you put the water there, because we did that before. We also sucked water out of our lake and it stayed down for a long time. So I just think that needs to be overlooked on the whole thing. Also, I'd say, been here for 39 years, most water I've ever seen in this town. I've never seen a lake overcrest. I believe it was brought up by James Evan, he's never seen it, he's been here a lot longer than probably most of us. And the other part too is that I know certain people went down to Church Street, there was thousands and thousands and thousands of gallons of water coming from I-4. So pumping it towards I-4 is just gonna bring it back to us. We've never took that before. This is something nobody's ever expected. I don't think anybody did anything necessarily 100% wrong, it was just more than we could take. And we just gotta make the right smart move, I think, forward, so we don't end up in trouble hurting somebody else. That's it.
Thank you. Where is she?
I'm ready.
Yes?
I just wanted to.
You want a yellow card?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I'll fill it out.
No, just go ahead. I just didn't know what you were doing.
I didn't. I know that, what Joey was saying about like Pearl, it might be people's paying their taxes on it, but that wasn't supposed to happen, and the county took that back over, I believe it was, and gave him back his money. So he doesn't own that lake. Nobody owns that lake except for, I want to say it was either St. John's Water Management owned that lake. It's not owned by an individual. It's not private.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
We're into the presentations. Presentations to speak to the commission. I have A will be Ivy Hawn, Strawberry Festival, we'll follow that. The FROC won't have the update, is that Jim? Is that the one you said we're taking off? Okay.
She got COVID.
Right.
During the storm.
All right. Thank you for coming. Ivy Hawn, you're on. Where are you?
Thank you.
There you are.
Hi, good morning.
How are you?
My name is Natasha Hawn. I've been a teacher at Ivy Hawn for 7 years now. I'm the ambassador for Leadership League. I've done it for 2 years now. And we do a lot with outsourced community work. So we work in DeLand, we work in Daytona, we work in Cincinnati Beach. But we don't have anything that we're doing locally here for the community. It's kind of weighing on my heart a little bit. The kids want to come and get involved as much as they can. So we kind of look around, like Helen knew what the need was, and what the kids could do to help. And just bring that bond back between Ivy Hawn and Lake Helen. The reason that I'm here is I want to get the kids involved, like community engagement, give them the volunteer opportunities, and just have that youth leadership development so they can make a difference in the community. What I'm asking is if we could start with something simple like Clean Lake Park. Maybe twice a month have a leadership lead come out there. They have worked really hard to get their own funds, so they've got their own buckets, and they have like grabbers and things to pick up trash, and started with the beach cleanup. And so we wanted to kind of start that with Lake Park. I know it's a big issue. I know that the Boys and Girls Club use it. I know that the kids come after school and use it. We use it sometimes during the day. So I'd like to start there and just have like a cleanup with them. Start something small. Other ideas that we had, Mr. Todd Preston and I have spoken and talked about the shuffleboard area. See if we can get some things to work there that would be a partnership with us. And then the kids wanted to do something with the veterans as well. So I just want to get that door open and kind of bridge that gap between Lake Helen and Ivy Hawn.
You know, we have a Boys and Girls Club over that door across the street. And of course, Volusia Pines, so I call it a conglomerate would help as well. Because each one of the, do your own thing, we all came together.
I would love that, yeah. So if we can do anything to get started with that, we're willing to do the work.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
That's for Ivy Hawn, the Strawberry Festival presentation. Somebody's doing a presentation for the Strawberry Festival? Going once? FROC has been canceled off due to COVID. Stressbuster 5K 2024.
This, realized this wasn't attached to the emails.
Thank you.
No, that was supposed to be attached, and I didn't realize it wasn't. This might look familiar. This is information I gave you guys last year here, and I believe I issued it earlier this year when I asked for the, well, that would have been the one after the 5K for the invoice for the contract for this year's 2024 5K. I was listening to the last meeting and I was really confused for two reasons. One, it seems like you guys didn't know I was doing the 5K. You weren't sure about it, which, I mean, we were on the same page at the beginning and I was doing it and been working on it. And also, you know, saying that there was lack of communication, which last time I contacted the city, see, it was July 22nd, and then I got a response, contacted again, got a response on August 2nd, as far as where we're having the packet pickup. The last communication with regards to packet pickup was indicating that City Hall might be under construction, so to have contact the gyms and work with them, but right after that, the gyms were no longer with the contract renewing, so I'm coming here again to ask, can I do, where do you guys want to do packet pickup? I'll just put it out there.
Yes. Where do you want to say that?
Okay.
What is this?
So I will send over the information as far as the dates and the times when I'm doing packet pickup. I will be leaving equipment in there along with our merchandise, our t-shirts and our bibs and all that stuff, so it will have to remain locked. And the less people that go in and out, the less the things that disappear would be wonderful. So I'll give you guys those times and dates, and hopefully they work out for you guys.
Kelly, just for information, we do got a presentation coming up on a requested use of the building. So there, you might
Is it in
have,
December near Christmas?
I'm not sure when he's requesting to start. But
Okay. Well, like I said, let me give you the dates and then see if it works out. Because we still have time to put the actual location on there. Historically, we've had it here over at City Hall, which has always worked out. If there's no work being done at City Hall, I prefer to do it there. Everyone knows where it's at. It's easy, it's quick, it's secure, if that's a possibility. Moving on, there was some question about money being made. Well, in this form, this sheet that I just passed out, the financial details, and I'm going to say it out loud so everyone that doesn't have the paper, which is the majority of people here. Last year we had, last year we had 916 registered. That was up 91 participants. Our sponsorship, last year we brought in 10,450. That was up. Since last year, that was 3,350 more than we did the previous year. Our gross amount last year was $30,673.20, which was up $5,446.20 last year. And our invoice, which was which was more last year than this year will be because of the amount of people that we have registered. So that was 1,042.60 more than the previous year. That invoice was $16,538.30. So that left us a net amount of $14,134.90. That's what this race brought in last year. And if you can see, that's outside of the $10,450 that was brought in through sponsorship. On top of that, we had just a little bit under $4,000, which was made over the registrants, which was one of the first times that we've actually went over and above what the registration pays. So, in case there was any questions about that, we did make more money last year, and we intend on making more money this year. And as of today, I was looking at the numbers, and we have 110 registered, which is 11 more people than we had last year, estimating around the state. So we are good to go. We're on our way. I've been in the back, working in the back end of this race, which is usually what I do at this time, making sure the website's up to date, making sure we have all the marketing material ready to send out. I've been in contact with our race management company nonstop, communicate all year round. Last time I spoke with him, well, it was the week before, and we had been back and forth talking about different things like, this is boring information, so this is why I don't bring it to you all year. What color are we doing this year? Last year we did red, so this year it's going to be green on t-shirts. Those are like the little things that I've always been asked to leave all those details out. Just come with you, like here's the money, good to go, here's the paperwork. So all in all, we're on the right path. We're ahead of last year. And I intend that this race will make more than last year. Hopefully we break 1,000 this year for participants. That's my goal. So, also our letters will be going out soon. I'm going to go ahead and print those out. I print those up myself. I do all the marketing paper myself. I put all that expenses on me. That's my gift to the city. As I've been doing all these years, I've tried to give as much as I can here without putting any pressure or any stress on staff. I will be bringing over those letters, and according to the last meeting, from what I understood, is you have the new list of, what are they? Potential sponsors.
You just jotted down.
You have some new contractors that you work with and some new businesses. And that usually is something that I'll get that list and put it printed out, but you guys can print out the letters this year because it goes through the city as far as stamps. We don't often have a big turnaround when it comes to mailing, but we do attempt. We try to get that out there, try to get as many letters out as possible. Sometimes it surprises us. But I will be going around towards the end of this month and knocking on doors. It's not appropriate time right now with hurricanes that have been back to back. So I'm going to get a little time so that way we can get that done. So if there's any questions or anything that you guys have any need to know anything, please reach out to me. I mean, I'm here. My phone number has not changed. My email has not changed. If there's any questions, rather than assuming or second guessing what's going on our end, contact me. I'd be more than happy to share that information. It's not a secret. This is your event, and I'm happy that I'm able to work on it. Thank you.
Okay, before you leave, last year was the first year that we had new city administrator, new mayor, new clerk.
Actually,
and
this is the new year. Last year we.
Well, what I'm saying is that the oldest city administrator is who I was working with to ask him what was happening, and he said, you were handling it. That was fine. We have a new city administrator, and now it's on everything that comes under his jurisdiction, he should know about. Whether or not we have contacted you, you didn't contact city administrator.
Yes, I
So,
did contact.
well, in the time period that we're talking about, what I want to say, what I'm trying to say, Tony, is that we want to work with you on this. We're not trying to make this, this is going to be a success because we're going to work together. As far as knowing this is a city event, and as a city event, wherever you are as a private citizen, the buck still comes back to us. So we want to be able to be understanding as to when it comes to questions, where should we have the answers?
Yes.
The only experience that I've had negative with the race, which unfortunately is with Ann Robbins, it was her idea. She got this thing on the wall, on the road, and it was that one incident where somebody who was involved with the race absconded with the money. That was a problem that the city, that was a problem that fell back on the city. So having that memory, not to say that you would do that, but it would only behoove me to make sure that the city administrator knows what we're doing. And if there's a communication that can be enhanced, I would just say at this point, because there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people here who weren't there for the previous year. So we're all getting our feet wet with this. When I say 5 people, I mean city administrator, mayor, city commissioner, city clerk, and also we now have our city parks and rec and the police department that helps us do this thing.
But that's why I said, feel free to contact me. If there's any questions, if you want me to come in and sit down and do the run by run, I can do that.
But we will,
There's no problem with that.
we will contact you on that. I can guarantee you that.
All right. Just
Okay.
contact me, nothing's changed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have the approval of the consent agenda.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can I say one thing really quick?
Sure.
The difference with using Run for a Cause, which is where we went after Jennifer, Florida, in 2018, that was when our funds weren't delivered to us, and that's when I went out, looked for bids for the 5K companies that could accommodate us. Run for a Cause was an all-in-one company, so we have been waiving formal bidding for them. And with Run for a Cause, there's complete transparency. The money goes directly into the city's account. There's no money being touched or held from anywhere. It goes directly from registration into the city's account. If they prefer the money, and this is something just to think about, if you prefer the money to come in on a weekly or as a transaction basis, that can happen. What we've done in the past is we have done a transaction at the end, so where all those funds come straight in, and then a check is cut for the race company. So if that's something that you guys want to think about, you can. There's no cash being used. It's all online registration, and that goes directly into the system, which turns around and releases that money into the city's account.
That was what you were able, in your presentation after the end of the race, that's the first time I got to see it, and I could see that it was a in-house kind of a deal where we didn't, the racing has become so professional and has become so, I'll say the computer does everything. You get on the race, you have your tag, they'll tell you when you start, they'll tell you when you finish. 10 minutes after the race, they can tell who won.
Yes.
So that part of it was great to see. in terms of how the funds came, when you gave the presentation, it was the first time I saw how the money was broken down. It was the first time I saw it how it was in-house, and it could be, even if you decided that for some reason or another, if you're not here, let's say, for whatever reason, there should be a way that we can transfer this. It should not be a one-person operation. Not to say that you're not doing a good thing, but as far as the city's concerned, when the allegation comes to us, we want to know where things are, at least we can get an understanding, and I trust you and the city administrator will keep that pipeline open, because we get the information from him as well.
I've always shared a breakdown.
I didn't say you didn't, I'm just saying
but
we're in this place.
I don't think the commission received it in that sense.
No.
I just did it in a verbal report.
Okay. I did get a written report.
Staff.
Thank you. Approval of the consent agenda. Start with the minutes for the previous meeting.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll wait until they're available.
Okay.
Really, the best way to really do consent agenda is ask if there's anybody who wants to pull something off the agenda to talk.
You're right.
The intent is just to make one motion to approve everything unless something's pulled.
Okay.
So,
That being said, is there any item that you want to circle?
yes.
Okay. What item is that?
C.
Item C.
So we just need to separately then.
if you want to pull it, so just vote on them individually there.
I'm sorry, say it again.
Just go ahead and vote on them individually because two of them have been pulled. So.
Okay.
Attorney's got one C.
All right. One at a time.
Okay, my question is for staff on the approval of meeting minutes on page 16 in our packet. Under number 10, it says motion made by Commissioner Linda Rutledge, second by Commissioner Roger Eckert, approving. Never mind. I withdraw my question. Never mind.
Oh,
Never mind.
next.
I'll go ahead and make the motion for the minutes, the meeting minutes. Go ahead and do that first.
Thank you.
I have my question answered, sorry.
We'll make the motion to approve the minutes.
So can I do A and B together then, after withdrawing my question? Or just do it separately?
Anybody have a question on D?
No, I had C, but I don't even have that now, because I did have my glasses on.
Okay, so we can go back on the motion.
We're answering our own questions, okay, sorry.
Meeting minutes, just to, you still want to talk about C?
No.
Why don't you make the motion to approve A and C? Because B, then we'll talk about B.
Okay. Make a motion that we approve consent agenda items A and C.
Second.
Motion moved and second. All in favor? Any opposed? I'm in favor. So moved. Next one. You had a few questions on the bills?
I do.
Okay.
Actually, I have a couple of questions. I'd like to start off with the CFV Corporation. It appears like they're doing a lot of cutting of trees. We're spending a lot of money, and of course I know now we need to cut some trees, but on every expense report, I see these people are getting quite a bit of money. So I'm going to personally ask them from the CFV.
Central Florida.
Okay. It'd be Outdoors Inc.
Yes.
Okay.
So I would like to request publicly that I receive a report just on CFB and the amount of money spent year to date. Also, I have a question about $6,000 that was spent on guns. I understand that the $6,000 was from this year's budget, but I don't ever remember that coming before the commission. even when we spoke about equipment. And I guess I have some questions, obviously, probably for the chief, regarding why we need new guns. Did our police officers already have guns? How old were the guns? How many times have the guns been pulled out of the holster? And how many times have they been shot? Guns don't usually go bad unless you do a lot of shooting with them.
No, our guns are over 30 years old, some of them are even more. So these guns were budgeted last budget year, so these were paid on the last budget going forward. The reason they're $6,000, so they're also going to 9 millimeters. The cost savings in ammo is going to be significant. We also added a laser to it. We also added flashlights to it. The new guns need new holsters. So that $6,000 encompasses everything. It's not just the gun. It's the attachments on it.
Okay. Because I didn't know anything about it, Chief. Nothing. Not before a commission meeting, not a memo, nothing. And I think that's something. Well, I'm going to email you and say, are you buying guns? What are you buying this year? Okay. And I also, I'm still hung up on, I believe that if we could spend $6,000 on guns, and I saw that we spent $10,000 on some other equipment, I don't think it was. Oh, you did get the book? Okay, good. I really would like to see you guys get the GoPros. For your safety.
You've seen my budget this year, correct? I just spent on guns, and best, what is my entire budget for this whole year coming up? So our budget's pretty thin. That was done at the budget hearings that we did. We shaved up our budget from 35,000 to about 18,000. So that's all I got for equipment. So there's other equipment that may need to come. I would rather spend the money on equipment that may need to come up instead of those.
Well, our budget year starts October, correct? It was my understanding that this was out of your 23-24 budget. Is that what you and I discussed, Mr. Gleason? The guns came out of the 23-24 budget?
Yeah, they came out. Yes, what I'm trying to say is what I just spent investing in guns is my entire budget for this entire year coming up. We are only 2 weeks into. I don't want to spend my entire budget on GoPros and I have to think about the budget.
Well, I just want
to
to.
So if you approve it overall, I'll be more happy to work on it.
I just want to go on record that I think in the times that we're in right now, protect yourselves. I think would be a really good idea, but also to protect the city. I think just about every city around has GoPros or cameras. I know you didn't want the dash cams either, but I just personally think for the city's sake, since we talk about liability so much, that should be a given for our police department. So that's it for the guns. Okay? Any questions you have of me? Okay. And I'm a gun owner, so. A Clarion. I thought we were finished with the Clarion.
We are, but if you're looking at things on here, this is the 23-24 budget.
Well, I'm looking at the expense report.
And we had a contract through them through like August or September, so there may have been some, they're not in the new budget. This report is the old budget.
Yeah, this is for bills paid September.
Yeah, so that would have been in last year's budget, and we were still under contract through with them. And they put on notice, I think the contract ended in September. A Clarion.
Yes. Okay. Because I thought the contract ended for like 2 months. And last month we did.
And the bill may be unpaid in September, but it could be an August bill. So it's how the last.
So we shouldn't see any more Clarion on here.
Unless there's something that comes in on some final, but we have budgeted no money for a Clarion in the 24-25 budget.
Okay. But I would like that report on the CFD, if I can get that, please.
If you don't mind, I can at least have Rick do at least a verbal update in the sense of why that is a little higher in reference to the fact that it wasn't done for 2.5 years.
on trimming over there.
Can I interrupt you just one moment, because I just got a little bit of information in my ear that I wasn't aware of. Can we include outdoor into this conversation as well?
Do what?
Outdoor?
What is outdoor?
What is, it's on the,
CFB Outdoor Inc. It's the whole title.
Is it the same thing?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
not two separate companies.
They do all of our tree trimming. We send them in to do all tree trimming prior to the hurricane. They did all the tree trimming over at the Equestrian Center, which is now, has a whole lot more damage than we had from their trees down and everything. They do all of our tree trimming, some of our right of way. They do our boom mowing with their boom mower, things like that. They're under county contract and they piggyback off of them. We had extensive thing we did. Also, they did drain cleaning at church where the train was down there, and the boom mowing on Mackenzie, Lake Pearl, anywhere around there. They do around the lakes for us. They do that as we go through. So a lot of it was done as storm prep, and some of it's done just as normal maintenance.
Well, the reason I bring it up, Ricky, is because, as you know, I mean, I just came on in November, but I do look at everything, and I just see constantly where these people are getting, I would think, no wonder we've got flooding with what we're spending on cutting down trees. I mean, surely it's, all of these trees are dead, and something, it just seems like a lot of money, so
A
I'd
lot
like
of
to
them
see how
aren't
much.
dead. You have the trees overhanging, growing in the roads and right of ways, they have to be trimmed constantly. Well, when I was gone, before that, we had a program where they come in and did sections of the city every year. That wasn't done. Plus, they're growing, you know, at a tremendous rate the more rain we get. Mackenzie, we have to do that all the time on the edge of the road, otherwise the people can't get down the road. Around the lake edges, on the backside of the lake, down East Ohio, West Ohio, Church. We have that drainage ditch the DOT put in, we have to take care of because they don't take care of it. So it's a constant maintenance, you constantly have to do that.
When's your contract up?
They have a contract with the county, I think industry in it for 5 more years.
But because they're with the county, we have to piggyback off
We
them?
piggyback with them, yes.
But we don't have to.
We don't have to piggyback with them, but we do piggyback off, you know, there. I don't know of any other ones that have it, I've asked, but I mean, if there's another one, we're more than glad to. But they've been very good, they clean up. You don't ever get a problem with them. When they're done, you don't see them when they do, so. But I'm happy with whatever the commission wishes.
Well, and I get that, it's just that I really seeing how much money that this city spends and hearing about the people who are underwater, and we really don't have the money to help them out, it appears. We need to start cutting back, and we need to start thinking about our citizens a little more. And that had popped up. This one company keeps popping up every month.
Yep.
To me. So that's one that I want to hone in on. We've got to start thinking about the citizens. I mean, this is.
I believe that's what we're doing with the trimming. I mean, the stormwater part, that's controlled by you guys. We'll do whatever you want. We can do, but I can't do anything without your approval.
No, I know that. I know that. Trust me, I know that. And we have to know about it too, you know. So somebody's got to bring it up. We have to talk about it. But wherever we can cut back, I think that's what we're going to have to start doing now, is looking where we can cut back to help our citizens. Because right now, we're starting into really the new budget. And we don't really have a lot of money there in the budget.
Now, let's also say for the record, you all removed $75,000 for hurricane preparation. We're into the second week of the month, and I have no money to pay for hurricanes. So how are we helping the citizens?
Will you remove $75,000?
Yes, this commission removed $75,000 from the budget in order to get the millage rate we were looking for, instead of looking at what impacts the citizens.
So what happens to the $300,000 from the electric company that's set aside?
That's set in a special fund, but I'm just telling you that you've always budgeted money to take care of these short-term problems. And part of what Rick's saying is they're trimming in preparation because of the storms. The storms are becoming more frequent. They're becoming stronger. So these trees being trimmed and opened up to some degree allow the trees to go through. We still see a lot of debris or whatever going down, but if the commission doesn't provide the funds to provide the service to the citizen, we can't do it.
Well, but
If you go to Church Street, if we wouldn't have cut that recently, within the last 2 weeks before that happened, we would have never seen all of what had happened down through there when all the windows came away. Take a ride on Church. It broke the sidewalk on the west side. My 6-inch water line was exposed there. Big dog came out and helped us, assist us to get it off there. I mean, there was water going through there. It eroded the people who lived their house. But we couldn't have seen that because it was so bad, growing up, hadn't been cut. And we're responsible for it. They gave it to us, said it's yours now.
This is part of the problem. If everybody would just look at their budget and really look at it, we have $700,000 police department, almost $500,000 public works, plus all of the outsourcing. There's no money left. We have no money to do anything. We cannot take care of ourselves. That's it. I mean, there is no money. Everybody's already complaining about their millage rate, but take a good hard look at the budget. That's all I'm telling people. And you'll see why we cannot do anything for our citizens.
And really, when we were doing the budget, I know that we were talking numbers, but I don't ever remember it coming up that anyone said, well, we're going to take $75,000 out of the hurricane.
That was an agreement by the commission, that's got us down to
Take
the
it out
seven.
of that particular line.
Yes, yeah, there were several reductions.
Discussed at a workshop, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, in a workshop.
At the budget workshop, it was discussed about lowering, removing that and lower the millage rate.
I guess I got to, I want to mind if I chime in. My zone when I was commissioner, that was one of the high points of the things that I used to bring up to Rick, was at Church Street, because the inmates, the state prisons used to do it. And when the state prisons stopped doing it, it became overgrown. And just due to Rick's, I'll say, foresight, when I mentioned to him, he knew what it was that I was talking about, because he knew what it would require. If that swell, have you been on Church Street? Okay, you've seen the part that went out? Well, before that, that was a complete jungle. And even after it being called back, it still took out the roadway. Now, just imagine what it would have looked like if we had on Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania has a history of the entire Pennsylvania and Goodwin collapsed because there's a waterway underneath there. And that waterway, when it failed, it took the whole street out. So that's the neighborhood I live in. So we had to go around. Even right now, Church Street is still cut off because the weight of the traffic when you get is that they're cutting off because of they have big trucks that come through there. And if you're going through there with big trucks, one of the things that was a big issue on Ohio is that there is a weight variance, a weight limit. And there used to be a guy who used to ride through there with his logging trucks. And the logging trucks, over a period of time, deteriorated the road. My point is that we're now in a situation, I mentioned it before, we're in a 1,000-year flood zone. Things are happening now that didn't happen 5 years ago. So if we project backwards as to, okay, well, this is what we're doing now, this is what we did yesterday, so I want to continue to do this today because it's cheaper. Well, cheaper is not cheaper when you have to put in a whole new road because you don't want to cut back on some things. So when it comes down to saving money, I would beg us not to be penny-wise and dollar foolish. Because the things that are happening, and to agree with you, is that what we should be doing is to helping out the citizens. The people that were here earlier, the people that were bringing up what was happening as a result of flooding, the one thing about flooding, you don't have a conversation about flooding until it floods. The things that happen when it's dry, the sun is up, we're doing other things. The family that was here, they prepared for the flood because they had been flooded so many times. First time I ever talked to her. But she took our own money and to put something to try to protect herself because we couldn't help her. We didn't have the resources to either step in and do what she might need. And each one of our citizens has their own story. Somebody, and she mentioned that, yeah, my roof, my patio was a tree in the middle of the night, 3 o'clock in the morning. My house get hit with a thunderous tree. Now, it was my neighbor's tree. Why am I going here? Because when you wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, you can't see anything. It's pouring down rain. You don't know up from down. You know in from out. That is the most horrific thing I've ever experienced. And anybody here that has gone through anything to that nature, I think we have an obligation to begin looking forward, because for too long we've been looking backwards. For too long we've been looking backwards, and looking forward means taking into consideration all of these things that now are going to be on this table. That's going to come before us. Every citizen that has flooding, whatever issues that we need to figure out a way around, money-wise, we're going to have to come up with some other ways of raising revenue other than taxing our citizens.
And we've talked about this for years on
And we
end,
keep talking
and
about
nothing
it,
happens.
and that is absolutely right. I think it's times like this when it gets our attention.
Well,
I think this is a good point in time to take it, to hit it while the iron is hot, while this is an issue. And we also, not to say, I was surprised that every time I listened to the news, they were talking about rainfall and all over the county. Nobody mentioned Lake Ellen. We don't do a good enough job of promoting the fact that we are here and the things that are happening to us. Maybe it should be broader than just the city. Maybe the county needs to take a look at that. Maybe the state needs to come in. All of the infrastructure that has anything to do with water coming in this city, we are a lake. The name of our city is Lake Ellen.
Maybe we should become county, and they can take care of us, because we can't take care of ourselves.
Just to touch base, we have one pump, and we have a brand new, it's not a brand new pump, so we have a pump just like they need there. We have some of those, and we don't have another very much.
Well,
But
you know,
I can't do anything, and it saddens me too. I can't, when they come up and want me to, I can't do anything. I can't pump it. I can't do anything.
and that's bad on our part.
We still buy it out there right now. CBD went out there. We had half of the collapse out there. He came out there that day. We had rock delivered. We did everything, but we still got, now we got to fix that road. We need to put a pipe across that road, but guess what? We can't just go put a pipe across that road. We got to get St. John's. We got to get all the permissions. So there's things that we're tied, even you guys are tied, until they say yes. So it takes a long time to get some of this stuff through. And you don't have the funding. We know that, but we do the best we can with what we have. So, I mean, there's a lot of roads out there. We're going to have a talk with DOT. Their water came in and did all that. We don't know what it's going to do, but we'll have a talk with them and see if we can get some help. The county, all that water comes off I-4. The water from this side goes out to Deltona, this side goes out to Deep Creek. That's how Lake Ellen's split. And you're right, you can daisy chain and get that water out of here. You can. It's money. It's a lot of money. But you've got people willing to give you pumps or you need hose. It's still money. But we do have another pump, so we do have a third pump.
Also have to get citizens permission to bypass their property too.
Absolutely. When you go in the right of way, you're going to have every driveway. Now in 04, we pumped so long that we actually went under the road and there was pipes underneath everybody's driveway when we pumped down there in John Street. And we had a guy who lived in the 370 or the last name come up there. He had previously worked for New Smyrna Utilities. He manned the pump for us. Every day he'd run it at night and shut it off. And guess what? The next morning, the water was right back up where it was that night. All we did was keep it at bay. Well, then it went from there to this bay. That's how it goes out. I had the county come out. when I came back, they forgot about our drain again out there. Those drains are what take it out of Deep Creek. I went out there the other day, right in the middle of the storm, after that, to make sure pull water hoses out of the way. So I keep them abreast of that, because that's the only way the water gets out of here. And that's theirs, not ours. But we keep them. I constantly call them to take care of it. They took care of it when they did the McKinney project for us. He says, hey, how about that out there? And go out there and clean it again. But it has to be constantly cleaned, because that is your only way out of the lake coming on that side for water.
And, you know, not for nothing, Rick, when you're on a lawnmower, because you don't have a man to ride your lawnmower, things that you could be doing other than sitting on the lawnmower, if you had the personnel, those are the kinds of things that hurt me when I see that whatever effort that you're doing, no matter how hard, how fast you work, we're always 2 men short.
Well, we're trying to clean up the parks right now. I've been all day at a Zoom meeting. I'm half time on late trying to get there. Manny doesn't have water. His well went bad. We're trying to get him temporary water till we can get a shot, you know, get it all put in today. It does, you know, and we have the potential with the budget cutting another one, like one of the new people out that doesn't get voted. So, I mean, we'll be down another 64,000 if that happens, so.
What else can Ricky do? We can't afford to pay him to, I mean, we can't afford him to get the materials and everything to do anything. What else can he do? Because we have no money to say, here, Ricky, go fix this. We can't afford it. It's about time people start wrapping their head around the fact that Lake Helen cannot afford to take care of itself.
I hear that argument, but I also say that the money that Ricky saves us, that is one of the big issues that I've had for years and years and years. I would tell you, Ricky would go, well, before you were repairing the police car. I can't give you the list of things that Ricky was doing. And I used to chastise him, because I said, now, the things that you did, that you saved us money, you need to capture it. Because when we do our budget, we don't factor in the fact that you saved us X number of dollars here or there.
It's not enough to fund a major anything. What he saves us, and I'm not saying he doesn't, but what I'm saying is, it's not enough to fund anything.
Exactly right.
So we're still spending, we're on a gigantic hamster wheel.
So what would be the
That's all we're doing.
What would be the solution for that?
We're not the only city in that predicament.
That don't make it any better.
I know it don't, but we're not the only one in that predicament.
And a good thing, it seems like our new engineers we brought on board, they have their own grant writing team. They're there to help us. I'm really hoping it becomes a great partnership. We spoke to them on stormwater. They were already talking about money, grant side, but sometimes still got the money in the room. But it's better than just saying, do this study and when you get some money, come see us. So they're going to try, you know, and I think that's a good partnership. I'm also doing my report while I'm here anyway. And we're putting in the meters right now, yes. The meters are going in, it's going very well. I haven't come back. I laid them off last week at the hurricane. They started in today. We've got over 200 meters in, probably about 250 as of a week and a half, a little over a week and a half. That's going well, so we should see our target date before our December reading with everything put in place, and we should have all the meters installed by then. Barn won't have anything else happen. So that's going to be a good thing.
That's also a revenue stream. That's also a revenue drain.
Yeah.
When you have a meter that's not.
We have 500, around 500 that are dead. So
dead.
yes, that's going to be a revenue for the utility department now. That's utility department, but yes, it's going to help.
Well, I'd like to get to Commissioner Eckhart's point about we're not the only city. That doesn't make me feel warm and fuzzy. And out where I live, I do without things because I know I live in Florida. I know we have hurricanes. I've lived through every one since 1960. And I have flood insurance, and I have homeowners insurance, but not everybody in this city can afford that. Or even some people don't even know about flood insurance, which is pretty sad, or that they're even in a flood zone if they don't have a mortgage on their house. If they have a mortgage on their house, they should know about it. So I'm just saying that looking at this budget, and I talk about it all the time, I think we need to tighten it up. It can be tightened up, and that's all I've got to say about it, but I do want to report to see about how much is being spent on out.
Thank you, Rick.
That's it.
Yep, you still have your report to do, right?
I did it already.
You did it all? Okay.
No, we're done here.
So you want to read
Reality now. Sit down.
Is there anything else? Yes?
Mayor, I know you all voted on approval of the budget variance report, but I would like to highlight something on there because I think it's important to the public. When I got here, and Lynn was a strong advocate for a budget variance report because that hadn't been provided. So you've been getting this now each month. We're 1 month behind what our fiscal time is. When we started out, and I can go back and tell you the full first report, we were well over 9% over budget. At the end of August, in July, we were 4.9% over budget. July, that has shrunk to 1.5. So we've got 1 more month to go. I don't know exactly where that's going to end, but staff has been doing its job to tighten and to squeeze and to monitor that. And I'm not going to tell you that we'll come in under or on. This wasn't my budget, but I do believe that needs to be highlighted, that we've gone from earlier in the year being extremely over to the fact that we're 1.5% over as of the end of August.
And I really appreciate, Jim, that you put that into effect, as I have asked for months and months to get it, as you know. But when we look at some of those line items, when we're 300% over on one line item, that's kind of scary.
Yes, there's limited individual line items, but at the end of the day, it's still an overall budget, and then those line items we look at historically to see what caused it. And I mean, when we can say there were somewhere, you know, you hired Colin, that was $32,000. You paid out leave. You brought in a newest administrator. None of that was budgeted. So those are going to be line items that may show 300% over. But even with them, we're down to 1.5.
And that's included $156,000 for the ECHO grant?
A third of that, they're writing off the whole amount this year. We will still budget the 2 payments, but from an accounting standpoint, Zach can explain that when we do the next budget meeting. But they're writing it off as a write-off for this year, but we still have to budget the 2 payments. So I can't tell you if the 153 is in that. You would have to answer that, I mean, in terms of there, but even counting that extra payment of the 53 or 56,000 that we've done, we're at 1.5%.
Credit where credit is due.
So are we ready for a motion on the
I-
bills paid report?
I make a motion, we accept the bills pay report.
Second.
Motion moved in second, all in favor? Aye. Motion passed.
No.
Any?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't hear you. You got to do that. I'm sorry. One day. I move me past. 1 day, 4 yeas, and it's passed. Thank you. Okay. Where are we now?
The old business.
The old business. There was an event request for the Hawn, and I think that's been withdrawn.
Yeah.
That was withdrawn.
That's withdrawn.
Okay.
What I'd like to add back, and Roxanne handed it to me, and I guess we can do it here. And I apologize, I've only got 1 copy, we can get it to you. Maybe because of the hurricane prep and whatever, the delay came in, but this is from Mr. Cook involving the Choo Choo Crew LLC. And this is his event application for the city to approve the Butler Express light tour from December 1st to December 29th. I apologize, I don't have a packet for each one of you, but we got this after the agenda had gone out. And so it's something I know you guys do every year. It's very popular. And in terms of that, if there's any questions or issues, I think Alan, is he still here? I'm here. So other than that, maybe ask that you make a motion to approve.
Is it the same setup as it's been in the past?
Yep, thank you.
No changes.
Using the arena and as your staging area, and driving around town?
Has the route changed?
That's always determined by the citizens
Submission for their
putting lights out. I really can't, I don't set the route
Okay.
till people do their part and decorate their houses.
Okay.
Obviously, I'll go where the love is, and we will change a little bit, but there's no set route because no need to go down the street, no lights.
That makes sense, thank you.
And also when the train, they picked the winning house on the train?
Oh, the contest?
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys, obviously I take that, but that's a city event, but obviously I sponsor it, I furnish the funds for it, but yes, we'll set a date for that, for the light contest. And obviously I work with your staff and they'll give me the slips for all that, but yeah, we'll do that. I'll set a date and make sure you guys are aware of the date that will be. We'll also we're gonna redo the Lake Helen night again, where it's donation only. I'll set the date for that too. I'm actually, with the storm, it's kind of got me behind a little bit, but Christmas is coming fast, so I'll set the date for Lake Helen night, where we put all the proceeds to donate to our light fund, and you guys match them.
Okay.
Thank you for your service.
I'm only gonna bring this up because there was emails, or did you want to say something?
No, go ahead.
Okay, because we did get some emails, from some citizens wanting to know if we were gonna charge for the rental of the equestrian center.
That's up to you guys, that's why I'm here. You guys always vote to waive the fee. I've never been told a fee for it.
What's it say in his form, in his request?
I think it's a similar application that he submitted every year, and
Every year.
Requesting a waiving of the
and the
fee.
commission has waived.
That's why you guys go down basically waive the fee. That's what it's always been.
Was there a motion?
Oh, gotta see if it's to request to waive the fees, he might have to add that in
I
there.
know there's been friction in the past over the bathrooms with the porta potty use, because the bathrooms are locked down there at the Christian Center. But last year, very thankful that CFP Outdoors donated their porta potty to us, so the city didn't shoulder any cost for that. Obviously, in return for that, I was very thankful, but I did give them a free train ride to their employees and their family members in appreciation for that. They were happy about that. I'm sure I'll revisit that again, but there was no cost incurred from the city.
Who's gonna do the decorating down there at the equestrian center? Who's gonna do the decorating? Because I know in the past, the city crew has been doing it.
Well, the city crews always put the lights up. I assisted them the one year they were kind of behind, just so we didn't look so janky or unprepared. The city always decorates the city. That's kind of that's y'all's responsibility, I think.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
No, he's looking up some information.
Yeah, I'm trying to see.
Yeah, I apologize if it's at the back, it's the waiving the fee on what RZ application.
Okay.
Permit for.
I make a motion we accept the event requests from Choo Choo Butler Express Incorporated as presented.
Second.
Moved and second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposes?
Nay.
One and nay. Commissioner Bishop, nay?
Is there any reason you said that?
that I can clarify?
Just because of the waiving of the fees, that was all, because we do have citizens that were concerned, so.
Do the citizens, just to clear the air, so we're all, I mean, I would like.
It's because it's what I do, Alan.
But do the citizens, if you're responding to the citizens, they should be aware of the $2,600 I donated to you guys? And all the other stuff that goes with the train.
Right.
Helping the Lake Helen Night, the sponsoring y'all's Christmas light things. So you should be on our side and telling those people that all that we do for the
I
town.
don't tell them anything.
Right.
I just want.
I just make sure that I would like a little more full support. I do a lot for it to make that Christmas magic happen, and it kind of saddens me that you said nay. That's all I have to say.
We appreciate you.
I know everybody appreciates it, and that's what I do.
So I say thank you for your service.
It's not about the money. It's really not about the money. No, it's not. Trust me.
All right, where are we now?
You know, it's kind of like the sympathy vote. I just have to go that way, that's all.
I'm sad that you say that. That's pretty bad.
Thank you.
Pretty bad.
We still got a beat. Yes.
Next item.
Oh, okay, I just said next time. All right, next item is first reading of the variance for 237 Church.
Yeah,
I got a question.
Does anybody have that project communication?
I have none, but I do got a question about stuff that's on this presentation. Under the recommendations, the first one, a 30-inch ingress-egress access.
30 feet.
Oh, you might not have, yeah, I'm not printed it before it's called that, so it's changed.
It's 30 feet, okay, because I said fire truck ain't gonna fit down 30
Yes,
feet.
Mine says 30 inches too, so but we did catch it, I just.
Good eye.
Would you like me to just give a quick overview?
Yeah.
We have Heather Erweiler not come tonight because we pulled the comp item and be there on us. I thought the cost effect to the applicant exceeded that time coming out, so I think I can handle this one. The applicant is seeking a two-part variance to permit conditions that would support a future lot split to allow construction of a new home on a proposed lot behind the home at 237 Church Street. The variance requests are, number one, to allow access to the proposed lot via a 30 feet ingress-egress access easement where direct access to public street is required pursuant to Land Development Code Section 11.07-00. The second variance is to allow an existing accessory structure to remain on the proposed lot prior to the development of a new single-family resident, where land development section 4.00.00 requires a principal structure to be in place prior to the development of an accessory structure. As the lot is currently set up, there's a house to the front, and they have kind of built a garage. So to remove or tear down that garage when it will become part of the second home that will be built out in the back seems to be a financial hardship. And while it is, we don't allow them on there, knowing the fact that there will be a lot split, and then they'll have to come in with a site plan for the house to be there. It seemed that it was a reasonable request to allow an existing garage to remain on the property. That would become the garage for the second house. When it went through the PLDRC, it was approved with the following recommendations. 30-foot ingress-egress Access easement shall be designed and stabilized service sufficient to permit access of emergency vehicles. The access easement must be installed and approved by city staff no later than the start of construction of a new home on the proposed lot. 2, no additional accessory or expansion of the existing accessory structure shall be permitted prior to construction of a new home on the proposed lot. 3, any proposed construction is subject to the Land Development Code and must be properly permitted through the City of Lake County development process. 4, any division of the property must be consistent with the requirements of the Land Development Code. And then what you have on there, I think in the back, maybe just give you a little bit of a map. So it shows the property, and there's a current house at the front, and you'll see on the right hand of the property, that's where the 30-foot easement goes in and then makes a left, an L shape. Back in that corner is the current accessory structure. And so when a house would be built, it would still have to meet all setbacks and everything behind there, but it would be, back to where their access is coming down that easement and then turning in what may be their drive. Now, they would still have to submit a site plan showing where the house is, meeting all the setbacks in terms of that process. The zoning in that area is for single-family, low-density residential. It meets those requirements. The lot meets the requirements for a split, and it meets the requirements for a house. And it was approved for recommendation by the LDRC.
Do I have any comments or motions?
I make a motion, we accept the first reading of the variance for 237 Church Street with the recommendations from the staff.
It technically is final, because it's not really a first read. There won't be a second
Going by
reading.
what was read.
Yeah.
It says first reading, but
Yeah.
this is your final.
Okay. Motion without the first reading part.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion moved in second. Zone 1,
Yes.
Zone 2,
Yes.
Zone 3, Zone 4,
No.
1 no, and I vote yes. Next item is the second reading of the variance. Is that the first one?
No.
No.
Is that when I was
That's-
delayed?
Yeah, that's the second reading of ordinance 2023-02, which was the text amendment that was set over a year ago on the
Oh, yeah.
auto mall, has been delayed to November 14th.
Okay. Comments?
We can't talk about it then?
No.
at all?
Question? Comments about it?
Well, there wouldn't be any comment on that because it's been tabled, so
Yeah.
all that testimony and any evidence would be given at the next meeting.
Hold that up. So, moving on. We're reached to the city administrator's reports.
You have an application for appointment to the historical planning board. Danielle Anderson. And I can tell you that the board is in need of additional members. We've had the last 2 meetings where we missed a member, and we've had items on the agenda where one of the members themselves was involved in the item, so they had to recuse themselves, and then we no longer had a quorum, so we couldn't take action on those items. So pretty important that we get some additional bodies on that board, so that maybe we can run into that. We don't have to keep taking the item.
Do we need a motion?
I have a question, or a housekeeping rather. The applicant's name is spelled wrong on number 10, letter A. The E in the last name needs to be removed. I know it's minor, but just for housekeeping. And then I'd like to make a motion that we appoint Ms. Hagstrom to the HPD.
Is there a second?
A second.
Motion moved in second, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Welcome to the PL06.
Thank you for your willingness to serve.
Careful, you will end up serving on both if you're not here.
Okay, this coordinator position, that's come up again.
Yes, Mayor. Well, I thought we would be in the new year on the budget. As you all know, we ran into a technicality with the state with our last vote. And while we have a plan to go forward, the state's told us we have to wait for the official notification. Again, this was caught up in Milton, and it also now could be caught, not in Hawn, and could be caught up in Milton. So I'll be following up with the state tomorrow in reference to when are we going to receive that notification. As you all know, we've reported that the way the vote breaks down on the commission determines what level of percentage you can raise your tax rate. And when we had a 4-1 on the November 12th, the 7.25 September, thank you, would have gone through when that changed at the second meeting. When Friday we went to enter that into the state portal, that's when the issue came up saying that it needed a supermajority vote. And so therefore, under the current vote, it would keep us at about a 6.915. We're waiting on the state to give us the exact language for the advertising, and we'll bring that back. If the vote doesn't change, then we already have a plan, because if we go at 6.9, it's about a $64,000 reduction. And the only simplest place to do that was Public Works was approved for 2 positions. That would eliminate 1 or 2 positions, because that's about $64,000, which would be a difference.
That's if we get lucky, because what they can do, because we did that, they can make us go to rollback, and then we're really screwed.
That is rollback.
That is the rollback? So we could have went with rollback if we would have just took out $64,000 out of the budget? That's not.
No, the vote is what we made.
It's a percentage of what we had approved.
6.85.
The way I read it is that if you do the majority, you get a rollback. If you do over rollback, you have to have supermajority.
That's what I'm saying, so they could, the state could make us,
Yeah, the state said.
they said they could make us go to rollback.
With the 3-2, the highest we could go was 6.915. Yeah. So anyway, what's that on here is I've had conversations with Karen, who's been doing events for you for years. And we've got events coming up in reference to Halloween and others. And I don't know when we're going to have that special meeting. And so right now, technically, we don't have a person coordinating events unless they're working on their own in their own time. The commission does hiring, so I have no idea if the intent was to appoint, Karen into that position. The budget was dramatically dropped, in the budget that we had, in terms of that process. I think it was $12,000 a year, but we also budgeted money for the various events, so that, because I understand how many times that money came out of Karen's pocket in supporting or whatever in terms of some of the events. So it's on there, in the sense of, again, if you want us to advertise it, we can advertise that and bring you that candidate. Or if it was designed with the intent of appointing the person who's been doing these events, it would be to our advantage to go ahead and get her appointed tonight, knowing that we still got to resolve the budget. The fact that I've got somebody who's working on those events that they normally handle for the city.
What's Karen's opinion on that?
Karen?
didn't get it, is that what you said?
Since we haven't approved, since the state hasn't accepted our budget and everything, and we might, what's your opinion on, would you like to go ahead and get appointed now, or would you want to wait till we do get the budget approved?
I would like to start now. I haven't stopped. I'm already doing Christmas. If you're going to advertise it, you have nobody to do any events until you get some. These events start months ahead of time. Kelly knows that. I mean, months ahead. You went from a $60,000 budget, and I came in with a $12,000 offer. And because I know the work that's involved, although I enjoy the work, I feel that I should be compensated something. I've been doing it for $1,000 a year for 3 years. $1,000 a year. So that's all I'm asking. I'd like to continue. I get along well with the staff. Everybody knows me. Linda, I don't know very well, but other than that, I'd like to keep continuing, but that's totally up to the commission.
Okay. Thank you.
One of the things that I think we are, the events coordinator with someone, let's say, at the so-called table, meaning when we have these events and we're planning for the city, that we have somebody that we can bring to the table and explain what it is that we need from them, and they can explain to us what we need, what they need. So that's kind of where we are with that. And it was, unfortunately, there was $60,000 that was set aside for the budget, because I think that whatever, I wasn't here then, I think the idea was that this was going to be a grander kind of thing, events coordinator. I can see where the necessity of an events coordinator to provide us with other alternate sources of revenue. Because we're talking about we need money, and events bring in money. Not to say that this is the job that Karen needs to do right now, but we need to get to the business at hand. We have Christmas, we have other events coming up, so that's just my piece. Does anybody would like to have any other?
I have a question. Is there a contract that is going to be presented to us, or a job description, or how does this, how does staff see this moving forward? If we were to formalize with Karen, what would that look like?
We can get you the job description, because we did draft one up back when we were doing workshop and talking about the position, so I can get that to you. It is planned to be a part-time position with no benefits. So the person, will pay city FICA and withholding in terms of that, and they'll get a, with a W-2 at the end of the year. But it would be a part-time position with the city.
Is there an expense account? Because the things that
we have a separate line item where I think we have about $20,000 budgeted for the various events. I think Karen sat down with us and we went through the whole years of events and kind of what was spent on various ones. So separate from, this is just a salary line item to the person. It's a separate event line item. I'm going off the top, but I want to say it's around $20,000 that fund various events based on working with Karen.
So my question, I guess, then becomes, what events is she responsible for, and how are we paying out? Are we paying out weekly, monthly, and is it per event? What does that look like? How many events are we doing?
Karen, would you come back up? Sure.
The name events, which keep growing, by the way, Christmas, Easter, Christmas tree lighting, 4th of July, Halloween.
Veterans Day, Patriots Day.
Yeah, no, so it keeps adding on. If I'm in the position, it would also include Market in the Park.
Okay.
At this point, Market in the Park, I do have a contract. That would be dropped to be part of this. As far as getting paid for events, It's $1,000 a year, one check once a year. It's not by week. Now, there are days when I don't have to do anything, but then there's 100 hours when I do everything at one time. So it's a part-time position, and 50% of it is phone calls, scheduling, phone calls. You know, it's more a seat at the table, as Vernon calls it. Because when I have an event, I usually call the meeting so that we can sit down and make sure that the police are represented, so we know what's going on. I spent a lot of my own money over the years. And I just would like to make some money for a little bit.
Understood. So basically, we're formalizing what's always been done, so the same events that have always...
There'll be additional events. We actually have ideas that we want to present, you know, but...
And I can talk with Roxanne, who does the HR side, but I mean, we're paid on a 2-week cycle. So I mean, you can still take around 1,000 divided by 26,
right,
which is done in pay period. So it could be just on the regular, so she'd get a paycheck every 2 weeks.
I have a question. Is this a contracted position?
No.
A part-time?
Part-time position.
So if
no
it's
benefits.
more than 30 hours a week?
Well, she's only willing to accept the part-time, even though she knows she's going to be put in more than the minimum hours that's required. She's not billing us for the extra hour.
I would ask our attorney if that's legal or not. I don't think somebody who is an employee and we let them work 50 hours a week.
But see, it's kind of hard to judge hours because there's no...
No, I understand. If somebody works consistently 30 hours or more a week, then they're not classified as part-time. If they work less than 30 hours, then they're part-time and we don't owe them any benefits.
Yeah, less than 30, that's right. But she said sometimes there's hundreds of hours, so...
I don't mean...
No, we're not going over 30
Time
hours.
she spends on telephone is not documented hours, and that's the majority of her time is on the phone.
It's still on the job. Okay. I thought this was going to be a contract.
I can't sign in at 9 and leave at 3. Sometimes I get phone calls at 4:30 in the morning. Is the market open? I can't write down every phone call. So I just averaged it out, is what I did, and figured that's enough.
Okay, thank you, Karen. Your motion.
Make a motion, we accept Karen's application as event coordinator.
Your second? I'm sorry. It's in, yeah, it looks like it's just,
That's a letter application.
Can I read that? I don't see that. Thank you. Just let her read that first, because I do not think I have. But I have extra features. Thank you.
okay. So we have a motion. Need a second? Motion and a second. Zone 1?
Yes.
Zone 2?
There's a question, right?
Oh, there he is.
Yeah, well, I didn't see it written on the agenda that you were going to be hiring somebody.
It's on the agenda.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Yes.
We didn't get it printed out.
A blue card?
Yeah, it's Ron Parrish, 451, West Michigan.
Yes, correct. No, this is for...
Now, is this, I know we got in trouble last time hiring Roxanne to go against the charter. The temporary employee is $15 an hour, correct? And we're going to be paying $60,000 for a year?
No.
Okay, then would you clarify for me, please?
12,000
a year.
I said that the last year they had a budget and they had a line item of $60,000.
Okay.
That's
I know this been going for months.
That's out.
It was 60,000 was there, and he was there part-time.
Right.
Same thing for clarification.
Zone 1, Zone 2.
Yes.
Zone 3. Zone 4.
Yes.
I vote yes. 1 to 4. Pass. Thank you very much. Okay.
Mayor, next item is Nova Global. This is the contract. You had a presentation previously by the company involving the school cameras. So there's a two-part process. Tonight is approving the contract, and then we also have to come back to you with an ordinance that actually allows the city to set them up and designate that area. So the contract can be in place, but until the ordinance gets passed, nothing will happen. They'll do some preliminary work, but they won't do the formal engineering and cost aspect. Chief, you have anything?
Can you or the chief explain in the contract, because there's been a lot of misrepresentation of it's stating 40 cameras will be allowed, and then in part of the contract is stating about, the installation of cameras where and everything, and the different uses they can be used for traffic lights, and I'd like to see one out of our traffic light in town, because everybody keeps running that traffic light. But there was a thing that said 40, that you could install up to 40 cameras, but I don't think you can do it like that.
Yes, sir, obviously not. I believe it says up to 40 cameras, if I'm not mistaken. But the issue is, it's not an issue. We are using this as a piggyback contract off our Chattanooga contract. So that's where those red lights and those options came in. We are piggybacking off of that particular speed contract for this. So obviously, your city can grow. We're not expecting 40 cameras. We're obviously starting with the 4. But if the charter school comes in, it becomes a proper school zone. It allows us to add, based on the city's recommendation, to add cameras in those particular school zones without coming back to you with a new contract.
And I know there's going to be a cost up front from us to get everything done and everything, and we'll be recouping the cost based on the fines that are generated from.
The cost will not go to the town. You will have, obviously, your work, with the city attorney, getting things approved with the ordinance, things along those lines, but we take care of all the upfront costs, which includes obviously the engineering, the permitting, and everything to put the cameras in place in each one of those zones. There is no upfront cost to the city at all.
And then there's a monthly fee?
So the monthly fee is paid through paid violations only. So basically, if you read on the last page, it says, you guys are, I believe, we're choosing the per paid violations route. So the per paid violation route says that we collect this amount of money per paid violation, the city collects this amount of money per paid violation. So it's only on paid violations, and really, we're going to be, if it's paid in-house, and choosing to do everything for us, we're going to actually be distributing the money to you. But if it goes to a UTC, where it goes to court, and then when the court pays, they don't pay us, they're going to actually pay the city. So in those particular instances, the following month after that's when you would actually distribute the money from those UTCs that went to county court to us.
Because I thought I saw something like $3,500 long.
So that was an option. So you have options, because in Florida, for school zones, they allow us to do shared revenue for school zones. Red lights went to a fixed fee. The issue with a fixed fee is you are basically starting every school year in the rear, because it's based off a 12-month set. So basically if you choose to go that route, you basically $3,500 a month, and then it's still based on paid violations, but What happens is if that particular camera does not make that $3,500 per month, that balance carries over to the next month. So where the shared revenue comes in is what I felt and the chief felt was a better option, especially for the town of Vernon, is shared revenue so that you always only get paid through paid violations, and DeVoe Global only gets paid through paid violations.
So if only 6 tickets get written in a month,
Correct.
you're okay with that?
Well, I mean, based on our estimates and the speed study that we did, we don't even over the estimates of time, we're going to see a significant decrease in violations. But in the end, the object is to obviously look at all 4 school zones, all 4 cameras, 2 school zones, all 4 cameras, see what each camera is doing, and we're not going to take a camera off Pick Lighter if it drops down to 6 a month, because we know that Previtt and Lake Kalanowski Road are going to continuously, those are the cut-throughs where you're having your transient traffic, non-citizens coming through your city, not slowing down for the particular school zones, and that will continue. It will reduce, because that's what the cameras are meant to do, but it will still provide violations, and we want to make sure that not only the school zone in front of the school is safe, but obviously the one, on Previtt.
I just want to make sure that we're not
Yes, ma'am.
having to pay a certain amount every month.
Yes, ma'am. No, you are only being paid, it is only being done on paid violations.
Call me stupid, but I've had a few businesses.
No, we're good.
That's right. That's right.
Anyway.
Yes, going back to business here. We're only going, the city is only going to be paying, or will be receiving revenue, 1/2 of
More than
the
one
ticket,
half.
more than 1/2?
Yes, I believe the breakdown is $37 per paid violation will go to the city, $23 will go to DeVoe Global. The other 40 goes to state, school, goes to the state, goes to the county schools, it goes to school crossing guard training, and there's a law enforcement fund in there as well. That revenue, based on those $37 per paid violation, can be used for public safety initiatives to be funded how the city, the police department, and the city, feels necessary. So you can use that revenue for a lot of different areas within your city. It's not going to fix budget problems, but it can at least move money so that you're not having to concentrate on certain public safety initiatives, especially, for the chief's instance there, with certain items that you could use that for. You could then, move that budget to other items as well. So it gives you options. It's not going to be it's not going to solve any budget problems, but it will help in the sense that you can fund public safety initiatives for that.
Well, my question is, I could realize we could probably spend it anywhere we wanted to, we'll just leave it in the police department. You're paying for all the upfront costs?
Yes, ma'am. It is a big,
Where are you making any money on?
it is a big commitment on our side, and we typically estimate that we will recover, or it will take us about 3 years to recover what we put into it. So that's why it's also a 5-year contract, because it takes us 3 years to recover that money, and we're continuously also doing the back office side of things for you as well, which means we're previewing the violations, we're making sure a violation occurred, we're running it through the tag and endless, so it's not something the officer has to do. We're mailing the violations out on behalf of the city of Lake Helen. We're accepting payments, we're also scheduling, we also have a court process, and there's other processes that are involved in that too. So it's continuous for us, but typically to recover the money that we put into it typically takes us approximately 3 years.
Well, I remember your first presentation, and I know that you're up north someplace, Tallahassee, or some other areas that you've got this going, but it just seems, it's like one of those things that it sounds too good to be true. I mean, because all the money is coming out of your pocket, it's going to take you 3 years to recover, and it's not really costing us anything.
And that's where, as far as it being too good to be true, there is stuff the city has to do. The city has to have obviously the ordinance that we talked about. The city has to have a magistrate to have the hearings. We have to have an officer that approves the violation. So there is work to be done by the city. What we do is we pay up front so that it doesn't hurt a town or city like Lake Helen or even larger cities, so that we can go ahead and front that money for you up front. And in the end, like I think I mentioned it in the presentation, I'm not looking to have you guys just sign one contract with us for 5 years. I want that partnership to be one that lasts. In other words, that goes beyond that 5 years. Because that's where it really matters for us, and number one, building those relationships between us and those partnerships with you and the city and the local. But in the end, as well, we want to build that, because if it continues down those estimates that we're looking at, then there will be a revenue stream. It's not going to make anybody rich, but it will be a revenue stream. And in the end, what we're doing is to protect children. So I can definitely get behind that. I think I have my vice president sitting in here now. I might get in trouble for this, but I'll tell you anyway, I don't believe in red light cameras. They're not my cup of tea. That's not why I was hired here. In fact, he asked me when I was being interviewed, why I didn't jump on the red lights when that started, and my response was, they get behind that. I can get behind protecting kids, and really that's what this is about. So, if you want to know my opinion, I'm telling you from a business standpoint, that could probably get me in trouble, but at the same token, I believe in what we do, especially when it comes to protecting children, and I believe these members can help me do that.
No, and I'm all for protecting children. I've got a few grandkids, so.
Congratulations.
I have
I wouldn't guess.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I'm definitely not great grandchildren, definitely for sure. So
Definitely right, yes, and they are great. So I have a question. What do we pay for, let's say, an hour time for a magistrate to come in for a hearing?
Do you know what we're paying now?
For a magistrate, I believe it's $250. But we would have a magistrate with one person. It's not going to be one person. If somebody contested, it's going to be a bunch of people that contest. You have multiple hearings at the same time. It's like, regular court is when it comes to that.
So you'd schedule the magistrate, and anybody who's protesting their ticket would come in, so they would charge that one fee. And then each person was kind of like going to the judge.
And that.
Well, I would expect
to say that if somebody contests the citation and they're found, guilty or they have to pay it, they have to absorb those magistrate costs also. So whatever their fine is plus.
Reasonable court costs, and all our partnerships in Florida do reasonable court costs. You're allowed to do it, so it's done in county court. So as long as it's reasonable, you can recover that money. You don't have to do a magistrate once a month. You can do it. We can base it on how many. You might see a little bit more, but as it levels out, you're going to see less and less go to court. Over time, you're going to see, maybe even every 2-3 months where you're going to have enough to actually do a hearing and get that through. And you can go that route. And if they're just looking for extra time to pay it, I told one of our other cities, we have one of our other partnerships that allows them to sign affidavits to say, hey, we're going to pay overtime. I personally, it's up to you guys, but I like that idea because it's number one, keeping it here. It's keeping it out of the court system. It's not going to UTC and a uniform traffic citation. And you're not wasting your time with the magistrate there too. So if that's all they're looking for is extra time to pay it. We don't mind doing that either. We know eventually it's going to come in, and I just think it's just worth it. And it'll go back to the fact that it's a $100 violation in comparison to if this officer wrote a ticket for somebody going through a school zone, his points is significantly more money, starting at that 11 miles per hour and significantly nicer from there. So it's still just, hey, and it's shown to work to slow people down, and it does it on a higher rate than what one police officer can do. The fact that one police officer can prove pretty much all the violations in the time that would probably take the right to use citations in that zone. So you're utilizing that officer in a better way because they're able to actually prove more violations than they would actually sit there and hand out on the side of the road, doing a traffic stop, running each person on teletype, making sure that everything is going to be over there. Safety concerns with those as well, everything that goes along with it. So you have that opportunity to actually provide more violations for people that are legitimately speeding in the school zone. And officers pull over, doing 6 over, we're starting at 11. So, we're already a little bit behind the curve there, but we're giving them that amount before we're going to say, okay, it's time to get going on this.
Just speak to the idea that the cameras are doing school time. When school time is over, the cameras are still on.
Correct.
And if there's something that would need to be accessed for purposes of, let's say, police work.
Investigations, yes.
So that's an added advantage, that we have eyes on an area that would be protecting the kids. At the same time, when school time is off, then there will be still recording that can be accessed to be reviewed at another time.
Right, and more importantly, you have access to our camera systems that have very high quality, high definition footage, which will allow you to get a tag. Your CCTV cameras in the school, I'm sure, are very good. Okay, but if you have God forbid something happens to a student and you want to get a tag number on that car, I'm not going to guarantee you're going to get it off our cameras, but you're going to have a lot higher chance of getting it off our cameras than you would a CCTV camera that's in school.
Where's the feed go to?
The feed?
Yeah, where's the camera, where's the screen? Who's going to be watching that? Is that?
So we start the process to narrow down what the officer actually has to approve. We have our in-house people, like I told you, they're all residents right here in Florida that review each violation to make sure it is a violation. And they make sure that the tag matches the vehicle in the picture and the registered owner. And then what happens is it moves to a queue for officer approval. During that time, the officer can go down and approve as many violations that are in that queue that he has time for. Like I said before, this is also another great tool because he doesn't have to be sitting in that school zone to do it. He can be doing this from anywhere because it's all cloud-based. But if he gets a call, if he gets an emergency call, he can leave, do that emergency call, and come back to it later. Okay, and do it, for, a little bit down the road. The chief has an officer that needs to be on light duty for whatever reason. You have an avenue for that officer to possibly do some work on light duty as well to get that done. It's not something that the officer has to be out in the streets for. They can be behind a desk, but they can also be in their patrol vehicles doing this from the cloud-based system in question.
I think that you said that it would be up and running like 7 months out of the year during.
It's only running.
Year.
The violation process is only being done while kids are in school. So even Thanksgiving break, Christmas break, spring break, all the other days off, a hurricane day, it's going to be turned off as far as the violations go. Any other day that the school is closed for whatever reason, if they leave early, whatever it may be, the chief just notifies us, we put it in the system, and those go away. And we also have a process within our system that if for whatever reason something doesn't catch there, we're going to try to keep that out of the magistrate's hands too. Again, trying to help the city out. If there's an issue, we can go back and forth. They can present, whatever they want to present. We'll confirm that, with the chief, and he can also reject it, have his officer reject it because of that. But we try to make as many checks and balances as we can. And everything is very transparent. The chief and the city has access to all the reports. You can see the violations. You can see what's getting paid, at least through us, not through the county, because we don't even have access to that. That would be, for you guys. But everything that's paid through us, all the violations, what we're seeing in reductions and how it's helping. Because I know it's going to, but you're still going to get people violating no matter how much we're out there doing it. Even if you have officers out there 24 hours a day, obviously during the school day, the whole entire school day, you're still going to, get people that are going to speed through there, even though they know they're there. And just like Waze, these cameras are going to show up on Waze and Google Maps, so they're going to be aware of them up front as well. So people are going to be warned ahead of time, and we're okay with that. Okay, because the idea is slow enough people down and make sure that the ones that do get caught don't do it again. And most of the time, that $100 fine is more than likely going to stop them from doing it, at least in that school zone the second time.
One of the changes I made, I don't know if we need to take it out.
Is your mic?
Oh, sorry. One of the changes I made, maybe need to take it out, is I added in there that y'all will coordinate, and what your contract said, coordinate It's to work with the customers, police, public works, engineering, finance, and what you have is the city court and the city clerk's office. We don't have a city court. So I put in there in the 7th Judicial Circuit of Court and the court system. So does none of this go through the court system?
It can, if it goes beyond the 30 days, it will go back in a queue. Chief and his officers will have an option. They'll be able to put it to a UTC, uniform traffic citation, which then goes to the court system. It's still no points. It's a little more expensive of a fine because the county...
Is that language okay there then, when I added?
Yes.
That's not possible.
Since you look back for an answer, I said so.
I will defer.
He's back there listening.
Yeah, definitely. Is there any other questions I can answer for you?
They may not like it, but the goal at the end of the day would be no tickets issued because nobody's speeding through a school zone.
Makes sense.
That would be the ultimate goal, and in all honesty, that would be great to see, but I just, unfortunately, maybe on Kick Later, maybe, but I don't see it happening on Private and Lake Wilson Road. I don't see it happening in those two areas. It's just, there's too much transient traffic. People in a rush, trying to get to work, trying to get to the beach, trying to get to Bike Week, wherever they're going from, cutting through, getting off the highway. You're going to see traffic that are non-citizens coming through on a regular basis on that road, and those are the ones that you want to remember that they need to slow down. And if it does, that can help, especially down the road as more and more kids end up in school and things along those lines, and you have expansions, go there as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Did you review my amended contract?
That is the amended one. Is that the one we went over?
I sent one with comments, and then I sent one with changes. Because then you sent some comments back, and then I think Jim asked me, does that address your issues? And I said, no, just send it to you. So I made changes to the contract. I just want to make sure you saw those changes, and you're agreeing to those changes.
I believe the chief went over most of those changes with me, but I don't know that I actually saw the final document.
We as a company haven't seen the changes.
You have not?
No, we haven't seen the comments.
Okay, only the comments, okay. So, why don't we approve it subject to their review and acceptance of my changes to the contract?
Was that the only change, or was there a few others?
There's a few others. Nothing major, I don't think. What kind of jumped out at me is the comment about red lights. I took out all reference to red lights. I made it clear that this was only for the school zone areas. Probably the only thing that you may or may not like is, I put in here that we have the right at our discretion to dismiss or drop a ticket.
The officers...
Well, even if it's issued and it's going to go through the process, through that whole process, if we say, look, we're going to dismiss this because facts come up, or whatever the case may be, that we then don't owe you money because we dismissed the case.
That's how we work anyway. It's officer discretion to begin with, so that's not... The officer has discretion on whether or not he wants to proceed with any violation.
I think the rest of them are pretty nominal changes, but you probably ought to look at it. I just want to make sure you all agree with the changes that we have, that I put in here. But
So the motion with changes?
I would say, if the intent is to approve, I'd say a motion to approve, subject to mutual agreement between the parties as the changes proposed by city attorney.
Public comment.
Public comment.
Yeah, we haven't gotten that far yet. We're still asking questions. So, how long before the ordinance would be ready?
It's ready.
Yeah, we got it for the first reading in November, and the second reading would be December.
Oh, okay. Open up to the public.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. We have a school zone. We have two cameras. We got Nancy with her, and then June Troy.
I actually kind of like to ask a couple questions, if somebody knows. One, I wanted to know,
and maybe they talked about this, why we aren't doing ID1, which is kind of public school too. And number two, Kid-Lighter and Cravat are county roads, does that matter?
Okay, Kid-Lighter and Cravat are counted because they are in a county school zone, so we can't put cameras there. Hawn has not had a designated school zone for their school yet, so.
How is that possible if they've been in
Because it's a
existence?
private charter school. It goes under different regulations that we gotta look into, get an agreement with
It's
them.
not
on
an
that. I know it says Volusia County Public Schools, but there's other guidelines that go with it because it's a charter school that falls under different guidance under the state's umbrella.
I would add, the ordinance that's going to come forward, the form they provided that I used, we identify the school zones that are subject to that will be subject to this.
We'll have to approve the school.
I don't know, that this should be addressed as we go through that ordinance adoption process. That's when we'll be addressing this issue because we specifically identify the schools that it applies to in the ordinance.
And if I could add to that too, because I had a meeting with the principal. Because there is not a designated school zone, they're not able to get crossing guards through the sheriff's office. So that's why there is a difference, even though they may classify it as public, but they don't have that official school designation. So they're not even eligible for the county providing crossing guards.
So those kids are less important?
We're not saying that. That's a school has to deal with that issue. Okay? That's a school matter.
George?
121 Rosewood Lane. I don't want to offend anybody, we have solar, but those solar sales pitches is kind of remind me, no money up front, it's not going to cost you anything. Oh yeah, you're in a contract for a bunch of money, and you do owe it, and they're making money, or you saving money, and all this story. We just had a meeting that said we don't have enough money to help citizens with floods. Why would we don't have a red light in town. We have a police department and not a lot of crime going on. Why do we really need this and another expense and another contract? And I thought I heard somewhere that these red light cameras are an invasion of privacy and I don't know what
This isn't a red light. This is not a red light camera.
Well, we don't even have a red light.
Well,
I have one red light. I'm not saying we never have lights, but the kids go to school 5 days a week. The school's zone is only in effect for 45 minutes, isn't it? Twice a day. And we have a police force here in a very small city. I just think we should really think about it, maybe do the math and really figure out what the costs really are, the savings, and then taking the police, and then we have to have a magistrate. He's not by himself in the room, there'll be other people in there, not just the magistrate. I don't know what other volunteers or boards would have to be there. This is a lot more than the sales pitch of making it easy on the policemen and bringing in money. We're not going to have, I can't imagine we would have that much money to make a huge difference and change the atmosphere of the town. I hope you think about it and really do the math, what he's asking, what we're really going to get back. And you're signing a contract, so.
Thank you. Dory?
I just want to say quickly that we've got multiple complaints that came to city administration, over the years by email from people saying that we don't do stuff in the school zones. This is, I think, a step towards doing that. And if we're busy, it's there all the time. And a lot of people are, get upset that we can't be there all the time, but I think this is a great way to move forward and make it safer for them. And hopefully it works out for other schools also.
Thank you.
this yet?
No, not buying into it, is that the designation is not a school zone. That's one of the reasons that they don't have school crossing zones. That is strictly a county deal, it has nothing to do with us. We would rather them be in, so they could take advantage of it. And there is a process for that?
I mean, the last conversation I had with the principal, I thought there was a process through the sheriff's office and getting designation on their end. It may have to come back to the city commission, you know, as a final approval, but I'm leaving that in the principal's hands, because that was not something that was just advised. That's what they were working on.
It can be expanded to that when they do get the designation.
So where are we going to be putting these lights?
On the school zone,
on Kickline,
northbound side on Kickline, on Lake Hellenosi Road, southbound direction on Burvat, westbound direction on Kickliner, and eastbound direction on Kickliner.
So this isn't just for the school zone?
It's for Volusia Pine School Zone, traffic zones.
Okay. This one.
Yeah, I just want to clarify, what we're doing here is we're creating revenue, so there's no transfer on equipment for the city. For instance, the money that is generated from these can be used and will be used to get those blinking traffic lights at Ivy Home, which can cost thousands of dollars. This is a way to get that without having to get the budget. So all this stuff, the body cams, you want that. This money can be used to get those body cams. You know, so it serves twofold. We generate revenue. We also enforce a traffic situation when it comes to children in the school zone. That's the big.
Yeah, and Chief, you don't have to sell me on it. I'm sold on
No, I'm just
that.
explaining, so
yeah,
you know, we're talking about
see.
Ivy Hawn in the school zone, where we're just talking about the one particular school zone in Volusia Pines. That's where we're at right now with this company. We haven't gone to Ivy Hawn yet. We haven't, if we get a traffic light, we haven't gotten there yet. So I just want to kind of narrow it in on what we're doing today, is to get this contract so they can start doing what they need to do.
And I'd like to stress, and I know what the chief said, and I don't want to step on his toes, we're not looking for a moneymaker. We're looking for safety in a school zone. And that's what this is. An officer can only stop one car. You've got multiple cars going down there. We have cars passing stopped school buses, not in just Lake County. This is a growing issue. There are other cities that have already instituted the school cameras. So we can look at other cities where that's already been implemented. So while there's a revenue side, and I recognize that, and there's not a cost to the city in the sense of what's there, if we're going into this to make money, we're going into it for the wrong reason. We're going into it for public safety, to try to enhance the safety of families and kids in school zones. That should be the number one reason why we consider this.
And I do want to further stress too that the people in the town know when we're in the school zones. So we have this small half-a-mile stretch of kick glider and this small 200-300 yard section for that we're out at almost every day when the school's going on. Meanwhile, all those parents that drop their kids off, once they leave that school zone, they're busting up Main Street, they're going down Lakeview, they're going down Euclid, they're going down High Street, and they're doing excessive speed, and we can't be in two places at once. This gives us an opportunity to be in two places at once.
I'm just shocked that I mean, because we were just arguing, I think, last month that they're a public school, and now, because they're not a public school, we've got...
They have a choice, though. They have a choice.
So,
but we'll get there. We'll get there.
okay, thank you.
Linda Freeman.
Good evening.
Howdy.
I was one of the original Ivy Hawn employees, workers, and to make some clarification, I did check with this again recently. Because of this no school zone, in 2011, when Ivy Hawn started, we went to the county asking for crossing guards. And at that point, they told us that you are a city, you have your own city police, you are your own entity. The county will not provide you with crossing guards. At that point, it was brought back to the city. Vernon, you were a commissioner in 2011, so you're aware of this. It was brought back to the commission at that time, and at that point, there wasn't the manpower or the finances available to make Lake Helen Police Department impose as a crossing guard. So then Hawn took it upon themselves to have their employees out there being crossing guards, and got our hands slapped because we aren't official, or they weren't official law enforcement. They brought this back forward as well. Hawn is a Volusia County public school that receives tax dollars just like Volusia Pines does. However, they have a private board that runs the finances versus having the district run the finances. So it's going to be a domino effect again. If going to, Ms. Sir may not, she may be aware of this, I don't know. But the fact that they go back to the county and get told the same thing, that it is a citywide situation, and if the lights or cameras, I apologize, provide that citywide safety, I don't see where the issue would then come that Hawn would not be grandfathered into the up to 40 cameras that they're allowed. So I think we'll get there. So hopefully there's some clarity on that. I'm not with Hawn any longer, but I know that's their process.
Yeah, I remember before.
Question. Good. Back in 2011, when Hawn addressed that issue, did they talk about school zone designations for it, and what came of that issue?
At that point, Hawn only owned the one building.
So that would have been.
Or they were actually leasing that building from Fred.
That would have been on Pleasant Street.
So that would have been on Pleasant Street, correct. And when at that point, they didn't have the whole complex to allow crossing guards at that point. So we could have a crossing guard on Lakeview in front of Creative Arts, but you couldn't have a crossing guard to cross over Ohio. So kind of defeat the purpose of the employees, and I believe the employees still to this day are the crossing guards for those students. So I think that's where it's at.
And at one point, there was a crossing guard on Pravat and Kicklighter, and then there was another crossing guard at Ohio. Those two crossing guards were removed because the county said that they didn't have the funds for them, and we tried to keep the crossing guards there, and that's why we lost them.
Right.
Because the county said, and it had nothing to do with Hawn, because Hawn was still that one small side. It wasn't the large edifice that it is now. So that was on the county, and that was talking to the sheriff. I did talk to the sheriff, both sheriffs. As a matter of fact, the last time I spoke to Sheriff Chitwood, he seemed to be, leaning toward it.
I think if the city went back and revisited with Chitwood, I think he would get a better response. Being one that Hawn has taken over a larger portion, they now are on Ohio, which now allows that crossing guard capability.
That's a good point, because I think they still see Hawn as Hawn,
right,
not the Hawn that it is now. That's a good point. Thank you.
Mayor, if I could just follow up on the building. In meeting with the principal, I did send her the cost, because Rick got it in reference to flashing signs and whatever in terms of what's there. So the burden is on the school now to come to the process to the city to request for a designation involving that process. And she's got that email. So it's just a matter of Hawn going through that process. You can designate it as a school zone, that's their road. And then if it's designated, my understanding is that they could become eligible for crossing guards with the sheriff.
Danielle?
I just wanted to ask, I know the cameras are there during school hours, and that we get a certain percentage of the ticket. I think, was it $100 or something for they what does the city make when an officer writes that ticket instead of the camera?
Good question.
Not much.
Not much more?
Not much. So the portion of the citation we did is roughly anywhere between $20 and $30. If that person confesses in court, that's 2 hours of overtime. So sometimes it costs the city providing citation.
Didn't those numbers change? At one time we were getting a bigger slice of that pie.
We used to get 50% of the citation. That was when the movie violation was 78. Now movie violation, I believe, is 166. 166, we get about $10.
And who was that very active officer that used to make all of those stops?
Marcel?
No, not Marcel. The other one, he's not here. From New York.
From New York.
Yeah. What's his name?
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, because he had a lot of stops.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was, so that answers that question. Is that sufficient?
No, I wanted to. So, for me, as a driver on the road, when I see a police officer's car, that to me is like the ultimate safety sign, not a camera. So I'm just wondering, for the drivers on the road, when they see a police officer in a school zone, I think they're a little more alerted to like slow down, and as far as children's safety goes, having an officer in a school zone to me is safer than having a camera to record an accident or whatever would happen. So I understand the police chief's point, which makes a lot of sense to have the camera in the school zone, and that way they can be in another area where the parent is driving fast. But I just kind of wonder if, if safety is really the main reason. Like having an officer in that school zone to me is like more safe than the camera.
One of the things with the camera, Danielle?
Oh, sorry.
One of the things with the camera is that you don't see the camera until it snaps your picture, but you get the check in the mail, or you get the bill in the mail. And once you get that, that's kind of like a self-correcting kind of thing. That is, when it comes, then when you go through there again, you're going to look a lot closer. The officer and the other thing is, the officer's stops are probably the most dangerous time a police officer has to be engaging with the public. Not to say that we want them to get away, but that does increase the opportunities for officers to have other kinds of input.
Is that really, I think what I was hearing you say, and it may be different than what the mayor heard, was that you don't see where this is really such a safety feature, that seeing a cop there, if the cop's not there, and the camera clicks after a child's already been hit. Was that a point you were making?
I mean, that point too, and then also as a driver, if I'm looking at $100 ticket versus points on my license, and I mean, to me, I'm more gonna want to slow down than just, here's some money for my ticket, I'll just maybe do that again, versus like, oh man, what a hassle, I feel like 19 points. So, I don't know, I just wonder if it will really cut down on how many times people are running there, or maybe it won't.
The personal incentives of having your points put in your license and your insurance goes up, that is an incentive, trust me. Yes?
The other additional thing to it that he mentioned is anybody that's using any of the traffic apps, like Way and Google Maps and all that stuff in their car, it's going to come up and indicate a speed trap or something like that ahead.
Police officer.
Speed camera.
A speed camera or something like that is going to come up on their thing, and they're going to slow down. That's what we're trying to do, is get them to slow down. So if they're warned ahead of time and they slow down, that's a great thing.
If they use their maps, though, they're going, most of
Well,
the
a lot of people passing through, because they don't know the area, they're going to be using the map. I've seen people going 2 blocks using the map because they didn't know where they were going.
There's also good signage, you know, in the report that shows that there are speed cameras. And secondly, that's the point, I understand what the police car being there, but I'm sure you all know, we can't be there 100% of the time. So this is for those times that we can't be there and we can focus our traffic attention in other areas of the city where we have problems.
So if there's cameras, signs, and there's apps, people know they're there, they're gonna slow down.
That's the whole goal.
Okay, so then what's in it for them money-wise?
We're still gonna have violators, it's just like we have police officers, crime still happens. We can be out on Pratt, like we were out on Pratt for years and years, we're always having people still sped, it didn't matter. Doesn't matter, there's still people that are gonna speed, the amount of officers coming in and out of our home on a daily basis, you